close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all emotions, all desires, all fears, all laziness, all doubt, all hatred, all jealousy, all envy, all strife, all complaining, all quarreling, and all fighting within oneself. You bring your mind to balance within oneself, within your 12 cranial nerves, within your 12 melanin centers, within your corpus callosum that separates your left and your right brain, to your hands and your feet that govern your body, to your inner man, to your inner being, to your soul, to your fet, and the fash, where you know Shama and the ruach. And bring your mind to completeness. Bring your mind to wholeness and fulfillment of Yahushua Mashiach and the fullness of time. And submit yourself to the highest order who sits in the highest Shamayim above the Shabai Shamayim above the seven heavens. For today is a day of freedom. Today is a day of warning. Today is a day that Yahuwah has given to us as a gift. He's given it to every single man, both ungrateful and grateful, as a handout for our lives, that we may repent and turn back to the one who created all things, and all of the sea, and all of the yam, and all the rivers, and the nahar, and the mountains of the earth. The one who formed and shaped all of the God, the fish, and all of the behemoth that roams on the earth, all of the remes and the creeping things that crawl on the earth, and that make piles and settle and gather in for the winter. The one who allows us to see the birds of the oath that fly upon the wings of the wind, and the eagles and the narashas, and the Ari that roam around. The one who gives us life and understanding. The one who creates all consciousness for all beings to procreate and to be fruitful and multiply. Yahuwah Allahim. So this Yom, we acknowledge him as the one who formed and shaped and gave us 6 days for our selfish self, and the 7th day to rest from all of our labors and all of our thoughts and all of our ways and all of our mistakes, that we may understand him as our father and mother in the highest Shamayim. So as we move forward in this truth, in his truth, in his understanding, in his dua, in his ways, in his understanding, let us lean not to our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight our paths. If we try to make straight our paths, we will definitely make a crooked path. Right? So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 5, and verse 1. Proverbs chapter 5, verse 1. Proverbs chapter 5, Mashali, chapter 5, verse 1. It says, my son, he say Adam, both male and female, be attentive to my wisdom, my hukmah. Incline your ear to my binah, my understanding, that you may discern, you may keep discretion. Why? Because he's telling you to cleave to those separates that's on your shoulders. Allow your heart and your mind to be fixed on knowledge and understanding. Why? For the lips of it says, for the lips of a forbidden woman drips honey. Just like Abkua in the garden. It said it drips down honey. It's just like water. It said wisdom is just like honey. Just like Kuwa in the garden took from a tree and hoping that it was going to make her wise. And guess what? It was forbidden. It was forbidden. And it says what? And her speech is smoother than oil, but in the end, she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Just like any sword or weapon that can kill you, just like that, words and wisdom that's not from you can kill you. It can destroy you. It can destroy your life, your mind, and your understanding. And it will distort your vision in darkness, and you won't know what to depart from. Right? So this is the book of Ecclesiastes. This is the book of Ecclesiastes. Sorry. This is the book of Ecclesiastes. Let's see where we at. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 1. We'll get Qahalath 7, verse 1. It says that a good name is better than precious ointment. In the day of death than the day of his birth, right? So we look at all the things that you came in the world with. You naked, you came in as a child, you had nothing. What did you do with the time? Because you didn't even get named yet. And by the time you got named, you did some things in your flesh. And when you leave out of this world, he said, what name you going to have? Whose name you going to have on you? What name are you going to have? He said, you want to take your name? You want to take your name? He said, there's a name that sits above every name. And he said the name of Yahuwah is a strong tower. So you want to take your name? Like it says right here, a good name is better than a precious ointment in the day of death than the day of birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all mankind, just like any other person. He said, dust thou art, move. Dust thou shalt return, Adam. Because you know what happened to the forbidden knowledge and the forbidden wisdom. You're going to the dust. That is your punishment. There used to be immortality, immortal being, but you're going to die like a man, even though you're a God, even though you're Elohim. But it says right here, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting, for this is every end of all mankind, all Adam. Everybody's going to the dust because of what happened in the Gum. And because of that, just like all of you, Canaan chapter 3 tells you, he said, I'm writing about those who are trying to deceive you. Because everybody going to the dust, right? And it says right here, for this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart. He said what? The people who are alive, not the rich man clothed in purple. And he was looking at the poor man, him in Abraham's bosom. People, he said, man, we could send you up. He's like, I could go back and tell them and warn them about this place. He's like, no, they don't hear Mashah and Nabi'im and all the writings. He said, ain't no way they're going to repent. Because he didn't lay it to heart when he was on the earth. He didn't lay his deeds and what he did on earth. He didn't lay it to his heart. He didn't realize, you know you're going to leave here one day. And the way you treated that person or that individual or that individual or that individual 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 100 years ago, 25 years ago, 500 years ago, if some are still alive, he said, guess what? I ain't forgot. Yahuwah like, I ain't forget. And it says right here, sorrow is better than laughter. For by sadness, the face of the heart is made glad. Because that's how you're going to get there. You can't know what gladness is until you sorrow, until you cry, until you shed tears, until you sow your seed in tears. He said, you'll never know what joy is. You'll never know. It says, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. He said, how do you get there? He said, how you going to get there? How you feel? I'm going to get wise. Because you know it's not easily something that, you know how it talks about in the book of Sirach or Wisdom of Solomon. It says it's not easily attainable. To be allied with wisdom, you gotta go through some things. You gotta put some other things before that. You gotta put that above everything. It says, but the heart of the fools is in the house of mirth. Right, this is what I wanted. Verse 5 says, it is better for a man to hear the rebuke of the wise, right? It's better to hear a rebuke, because correction and reproof is a way of life. Tukah. It's a way of life. And you know why he does it? As Proverbs chapter 1 tells you, because he wants to pour his ruach on you. I want to reveal my words to you, so I have to rebuke you every single morning, every single day. Why? Because that's the only way I'm going to reveal my debar to you. Just like the book of Proverbs 6:23. Commandment is a lamp, and the law is a Torah, is the light, and correction and reproof is a way of life. Tukah is a way of life. It's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear a song of fools, of stupid people. Why? It's stupid. You say stupid people, why would you want to hear a song of a stupid person? An ignorant person. They don't know anything. Hear what it says. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of fools. This is also vanity. And it's all vain. Because it's all going to end one day. And they're going to go back to the dust. So he said it's better to hear the rebuke of the wise. It's better to. Go skip down to verse 10. Say not, why were the former days better than these? But like, man, you remember back in the day, man, it was way better. Man, you sure? You go back and you trace back your lineage all the way back to the Bereshit chapter 6, how the world was. He said every imagination and thought was evil continually. So you think it was better back in the day? You think it was any better than this? It's actually worse than it was then. You think that what Yasharal and all the people did from the time that Noah came out of the ark all the way till today, till the Mashiach died, till they destroy the knowledge of the past, till they change things, till they remove people from office, till they remove continents, change names, change colors of people, move things over around, said so many things. You think it's better? No, it's more deception than it was ever. There's more sorcerers, witches, warlocks, spirit channelers, necromancers, necrons. There's all types of beings here. Malaki, raw evil spirits, lying spirits. There's so many different things here. Asmodeus, Asmodee, Mustama, Asbahal, and people want to play around in this world. It's not a world to play around in. It's not. And you know what happens in the summertime? You better guard the doors of your mouth. Why? It's summertime. And you know who come out in summertime? Asmodeus. Lives through it. He brings houses to fight. And people are like, well, who are these beings? And where do they come from? No, they're here. They're still here. Mastama is still here. His legions of demons are still here. It says what? Verse 10 says, say not that the former days were better than these, for it is not by wisdom that you ask this. He said, don't, because you ain't got it. He said, you ain't saying about wisdom, because if you knew how come that was in the past, you would say, no, it's not. Verse 11 says, wisdom is good with an inheritance. With an inheritance. So he said, if I got wisdom and I get an inheritance, guess what? An advantage to those who see the what? The sun. Because you know he prepared a tent for the sun. He prepared a tent for the sun. It says, for the protection of wisdom is like the protection of money. And the advantage of knowledge is wisdom preserves the life of him who has it. He said, I'm going to preserve my life, right? He said, okay. This is Deuteronomy 6:25. Deuteronomy 6:25. Deuteronomy 6:24. Devarim 6:24. Devarim 6:23. Devarim 6:23. It says, and he brought us out from there that he might bring us in and give us the land that he swore to give our fathers. And he gave it to them. They got it. They got everything he's promised. They got it all. And guess what happened? And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes. So Yasharal and Yehuda ain't there no more. So what did they didn't do? They didn't do it. That's the only reason they ain't there. He said, well, why are we not there? You practice extortion, you're robbers, you're thieves, you go out to unjust gain, you slander to shed blood, you gossip and slander, you do all these things, you do everything Yahuwah hate. Why would he keep you there? And then when you kicked out, you do the very same thing that the people in there are doing currently today. Wherever that may be. You do this very same thing. And you will say, I'm going to keep the evil people in here. And you evil out. So, evil. And it says right here, and Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes. To fear Yahuwah our Elohim for our good always. People saying, they don't know how to do good in Jeremiah 6, right? They say, my people are wise to do evil. Because you know how it is. You get that unseen wisdom, that unseen knowledge. Guess what happens? He said, man, they wise to do evil, but to do good, they don't know. It says, for our good always. We want good. He said, Mayo Tau, when he made it in the beginning, he said, it was good and very good. It was good on the first day. It was good on the second day. It was good on the third day. It was good on the fourth day. It was good on the fifth day. It was good on the sixth day. Seventh day, what happened? You rested. That's what that is. It says what? For our good always, that he might preserve us alive as we are this day. That's the only reason. So you won't die. So you won't live. So you can live for eternity. So you can keep living. That's the only reason. It's safety to keep the commandments. You're going to live a little longer. You're going to have a little bit more peace. You're going to have a little bit more sunshine. Because you're going to behold the sun. You're going to be filled with the Ruach. And you're going to have so much protection around you. But as soon as you do opposite, you are in trouble. It says right here, and it will be righteousness for us if we are careful. People saying careful. People saying very, very careful. People careful about what they eat. Careful about what they touch. Careful about what they hear. You got to be very careful. Careful about what you see. Careful about what you touch. Careful about what you do. You got to be careful. to do what? To do all this commandment before Yahuwah our Elohim as he has commanded us. He said, be very careful. He said, be very, very careful. Be very, very careful, right? Right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 1. It says, and now, Deuteronomy 4 and 1. And now, O Yasharal, listen to the statutes and rules that I am teaching you to do them, that you may live. And go in and take possession of the land that Yahuwah, your Elohim, your father is giving you. He say take possession of the land. To take control over it. When they went into the land and fought to get the land, what they had to do? They had to take possession of it. They had to dominate. They had to have dominion and authority over it. So what do you think you got to have dominion and authority of now? You, your body, your thoughts, how you live, how you love, how you compassion and mercy, how you operate, how you love, how you sow, how you gather, how you harvest. Everything that he told them to do in the land, that's the very same thing one need to do within themselves. People say, I don't need to know all of this. Yes, you do. You need to know everything about what to do in the land. Because if you don't, you yourself will be kicked out the land. How you say it? Kicked out the kingdom, the Malkut. Right. And it says right here that you may live and go and take possession of the land that Yahuwah, your Elohim, your father is giving you. You shall not add to the debar that I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahuwah, your Elohim, that I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahuwah did to Baal Peor. For Yahuwah, your Elohim, destroyed from among you all men who followed Baal Peor. He said they ate from the wisdom of Baal. I say Balaam. They ate from that wisdom, that knowledge, just like Kul in the garden. Just like he did. That secret sauce. You know how they say the special sauce. And it says, but you who held fast to the Yahuwah, your Elohim, are alive today. That's the only reason you're alive today. People saying, why are they alive today? Because of this. That's the only reason you're still living. He said, you better clean it. It says, see, I have taught you statutes and rules as Yahuwah your Elohim commanded me, that you should do them in the land that you are entering into take possession. You're going to need to do them. You're going to have to do all this. And he said, when the Malkut, he's like, who should get back here? People saying, I ain't got to do it. I said, okay. And what did Yahushua say in Luke 21:9? He said, in your possession, he said, possess ye your souls. In your patience, possess ye your souls. In your endurance, in some translations, possess your soul. Your nefesh. Why? Because the spirit of hatred will blind your soul. He said it will blind you. See, I have taught you statutes and rules as Yahuwah has commanded me, that you should do them in the land that you are entering to take possession of it. Keep them and do them, for that will be your wisdom. Oh, it's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than hear the song of a fool. A stupid person who don't even have this type of wisdom. It's better to do that. To be attentive to Yahuwah's wisdom than be attentive to somebody else's. He says what? It says what? You are entering into that. Keep them and do them. For this will be your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the peoples. Inside of who? Inside of everybody that's around you. Because Yahuwah planted you just like a seed is planted in the midst of other people who don't do it. And therefore, they're watching you. They're watching everything you do. And they're going to mimic everything you do. And guess what happens after that? Then they're going to be talking about what you do. And when they hear all these statutes, how are they going to hear it? He said, when they hear all these statutes, we'll say, surely, this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Surely they're going to say it. They're like, man, they do all these cosmos, times, days, and years, and man, they count these days, and they do all these things. They do these things. They dress a certain way. They love a certain way. They speak a certain way. They walk a certain way. And they really care about how they look. They really do care about how they love. They really do care about their children. They really do care about their families. They really do care about each other. they really do care about how we live and how we show compassion, man, they really do care about it, they're going to see it. But if you ain't doing it, then guess what happened? They ain't going to see nothing. The only thing they're going to see is the same thing that's been happening for the last 5,000 years, 6,000. This very same thing. It says, for what great nation is there that have Yahuwah Elohim so near to it, as Yahuwah our Elohim is to us, wherever we call upon him? And what great nation is there that has statutes and rules so righteous? Because this would be our righteousness. So righteous as all this law, Torah, that I set before you today. He's like, what? What people? All right, this is the book of Bereshit, chapter 26. Bereshit, chapter 26. Bereshit, chapter 26, verse 1. Genesis 26 and 1. Bereshit 26 and 1. Bereshit 26 and 1. Now there was a famine in the land, besides the former famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Yitzhak went to Gerar to Abimelech, king of the Philistines. Right? You got all these famines in the world now. People saying, I said, don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable where you are. Don't get comfortable in what city you live in, what place, what country. Because when things start to go down, when things start to really deteriorate, you're going to need to migrate. Just like animals do. You're going to have to leave. You're going to have to leave. People saying, why? As everything gets dwindling closer and closer, things are going to start getting real scarce and scarce. Because you know what brings famine? And they say wisdom is good with an inheritance, but it profits them to see the sun. What brings the famine? The sun. The sun dry everything up. You think about the season when the seasons change. If the sun doesn't travel on the seven celestial circles, and summer gets extended for a longer period of time than it normally is, what's going to happen to all your food? What's going to happen to all the things you grow? It's going to be a famine. Because that's how long. He's saying the summer a little bit longer this year. Exactly. I'm shortening your growth cycles. I'm shortening the time. You ain't gonna be able to grow anything. Then you're gonna go to winter time, man, it's gonna be darkness. And nothing gonna grow then. Then I'm gonna extend summer even longer. And then the sun gonna be out even longer. You're gonna be out instead of 6 months, it's gonna be out 8 months. Then you're gonna have winter time for 2 months. Or 1 month, and then summer come right back. And then guess what happens? Nothing grows. People say, how you know that everything's getting closer? It says now, it says in what? It says, and Yahuwah appeared to him and said, do not go down to Mizraim, Egypt. Dwell in the land which I tell you. He said, so that's when Yahuwah started talking. When things start getting famine and things that he want to preserve you alive. That's the only reason. I want to preserve you alive. As it is this day. So in order for him to preserve you alive, when famine and all these things start happening, pestilence and earthquakes and storms and tempests, he gonna start talking to you. And guess what happens? He gonna start talking to you, Ish, and guess what's gonna happen? And he says to what? In the land I tell you, he said, you don't need to leave. It's time to go. He said, sojourn in the land, and I will be with you and barak you. For to you and to your offspring, I will give all these lands and will establish the oath that I swore to Abraham, your father. To your father. It says, I will multiply your offspring as the stars of Shamaim, the Kukab of Shamaim, just like how you say Bereshit chapter 3. No, Bereshit, the 4th day of creation. Just like he talking about the 4th day of creation. I'm going to multiply your seed, just like the Kukab. Just like the Kukab. And guess what it says? And will be to your offspring, give to your offspring all these lands. And if your offspring, it says, in your offspring, all the nations of the earth shall be barak. How are they going to be barak? Because you're going to keep all his commandments. He said, you're going to be like, what nation? The people going to see it. What people have Yahuwah so close to them like that? The one who made all things, who sits in the highest Shamaim, above the 7 heavens. The one who established all of the entity of the Rakia. All the way to the surface of the earth, to the center of the earth. Who is these people? He says, Because Abraham obeyed my voice, kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. That's why. That's the reason. That's the reason. He said because Sarah kept the commandments, because Yitzhak kept the commandments, because Luke kept the commandments, right? Right. So this is the book of Psalms 140, Psalms 119, Tahalim, Psalms 119, Psalms Tahalim 119, Psalms 119, 138, 137, Psalms 119, 137. It says, righteous are you, O Yahuwah, and right are your rules. And he said rules? People saying, what is a rule? They say ruler. Rules are rulers. Is a ruler. That's what rules are. Rules should be your ruler. It says rules. You have appointed testimonies in righteousness. Because you know what the righteousness is. To keep the commandments. It says, and in all faithfulness, because you can't allow faithfulness and love to depart from you. You got to be steadfast in faithfulness and love in order to keep your lamp burning. That's the only way, because the commandment is the lamp. And the Torah, the law, is the light. It allows the oil to continually burn. How are you going to know about having pure oil for the lamp to continually burn? Oh, you got to know the statutes and judgments. You got to know the commandments. That's the only way you're going to know. How you got to know to have that within you? You got to know it. It's eternal life to know him, Yahushua Mashiach, the man who was beat. He made olive oil with beaten works, who was beat over the head with a reed. It's eternal life to know him. Satan not coming after nobody whose lamp ain't burning. Satan, they are part of Satan's army. Satan gonna command those people whose lamp ain't burning. You have appointed your testimonies in righteousness, and in all faithfulness my zeal consumes me. He like, it's consuming me. Everything I'm so faithful in love, it's consuming me. Because my foes forget your words. They do what? They forget. He said they forget. They forget your words. Your promise is well tried. Who? He said promise is well tried. Book of Yeshayahu chapter 48 and 10, I think. It says what? He said, man, I refine y'all chosen you to the furnace of affliction. He said that the words of Yahuwah are pure words in the book of Proverbs 6:16. No, Proverbs, must be. He said the words of Yahuwah are pure words. Not 6:16, but as silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. It's tried. The promise is tried. Because the promise is unto you and to your children. It's tried. And guess what? And your servant loves it. He said, I love it. I don't love it. He said, Proverbs 6:16 say, you 16 Yahuwah hate. That's the one thing you don't want to do. But it says right here, I am small and despised, yet I do not forget your precept. Why you don't forget it? Because it's in your consciousness. In your inward man, in your consciousness. Why? So you can be a wise and understanding people. Within yourself, within your heart and your mind. It says, and your law is truth. Your law is the truth. Your Torah is the Amath. Your Torah is true. It is right. It is rules. Your righteousness is righteous forever. This is the ESV. And King James said, your righteousness is everlasting righteousness. And your law, your Torah, is the truth. And it says right here, trouble and anguish has found me out, but your commandments are my delight. Right? We just left the longest day. Travel on the 7 celestial circles. Now we're going to these 3 months of summer fruit. He said, man, it's my delight. He says, your testimonies are righteous forever. Give me understanding that I may live. Right? Yeah, so this is the book of Psalms, chapter 19. Psalm chapter 19, verse 1. Getting into Psalm chapter 19, verse 1. Psalm chapter 19, verse 1. Psalm chapter 19, verse 1. Psalms 19 and 1. It says, the heavens declare the kabod of Yahuwah, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Right, just like anything. It proclaims what? The kabod of Yahuwah, the Elohim, and the sky proclaims his handiwork. Day to day he pours out speech, and night to night he reveals knowledge. There is no speech, nor any are words whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. He said, when your words, I don't forget. David's like, I was like, I don't forget them. He said, this is our righteousness. Abraham ain't forget him either. Noah didn't forget him either. Shem didn't forget him either. Shah didn't forget him either. Right, but it said right here, in them he has set a tent, a hall for the sun. Because it's beautiful. He's a great. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and it profits him to see the sun. It's profited to see the sun, the Shamash. Why is it profit? Which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. Man, it come out just like it leaving out of his chamber. It come right out of you. I say the son of productivity. And it says right here, and it's like a strong man that runs a course with joy. It rises in from the ends of the heavens, and its circuit to the end of them. And there is nothing hidden from its heat. There's nothing hidden from the heat. Not right now. There's nothing hidden from it. Right? Nothing. Right, this is the book of Sirach. Book of Sirach. The book of Sirach. The book of Sirach. Book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 1. The book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 1. It says, there shall no evil happen unto him that feareth Yahuwah, but in temptation, even again, he will deliver him. He's talking about the temptation. No temptation is common to men, but Yahuwah always leave a way to escape. He said, man, your words I ain't never forgot. He said, I'm meditating your testimonies. Your righteousness is everlasting righteousness. Your law is the truth. Your Torah is the truth. He said, y'all will leave a way to deliver him. A wise man hateth not the Torah. Why would a wise man hate the rebuke of the wise? Man, a wise man don't hate no Torah. Wise man or woman. Wise man or woman will hakma. But he that is a hypocrite, therein is like a ship in a storm. Man, it's just like Yahushua on the ship. In Mark, number 4. When they were on the ship and they were tossed to and fro. Man, like a storm on the ship. Master, master, you don't care that we perish? He's like, where your moon at? You don't believe the words? You forgot the words, huh? You forgot all the knowledge. You must have forgot. Because he said that the wicked like a troubled sea. They can't be quiet. Just like Yeshayahu chapter 57 said. He's like, man, ain't no peace to the wicked. He said, why would he do that? Because they hate the Torah. He's like, why would you hate it? It says, a man or woman of understanding trusteth in the Torah, the law. And the Torah is faithful unto him as an oracle. Faithful as an oracle. Why would it be faithful as an oracle? Right? Why would the Torah be faithful as an oracle? So this is the book of, we're going to come back there. This is the book of This is the book of 2 Peter 1:21. 2 Peter 1:21. It says 2 Peter 1:21. 2 Peter 1:21. 2 Peter 1:21. 2 Peter 1:21 and 20. Actually, 1 and just go to 1:16. Just go. It says, for we did not follow cleverly devised myths when we made known to you the power of the coming of Adon Yahushua Mashiach, but we were eyewitnesses of his majesty. Right? You say, well, we've seen it. For when he received honor and kabod from our father, Elohim Father, and the voice borne to him by majestic kabod, glory, this is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. We ourselves heard this voice, born from Shamash, because everybody not going to hear his voice. He said, we heard it. When Isaac heard it, he said, man, I'm going to Mizraim. He said, go to this land. He said, man, why? Because Abraham obeyed what I said, so therefore, the Son can only do what the Father do. Whatsoever the Son sees, the Father do, the Son does likewise. And guess what he says? He says, and we ourselves heard the voice born from Shamaim, for we were with him on the Kudash mountain. And we have a more prophetic word, more fully confirmed, to which you will do well if you pay attention. How you say to the words? As a lamp shining in a dark place until the day dawns, and the morning star rises in your hearts. He prepared a tent for the sun. Man, he said, man, you rise just like the sun. He's like, man, wisdom is good and inheritance. It's profit to see the sun. Man, who could hide from that? But he said a tent for the sun. He made a tabernacle for the sun. You said, why I need to know all the statutes? Because you need to keep your lamp burning within yourself. But it says right here, and it says, rise in your hearts, knowing this, that first of all, that no prophecy of the scriptures comes with someone's own interpretation. For no prophecy was ever produced by the will of man, but men spoke from Yahuwah as men and women. Right? So you can say, oh yeah, it's only just men, right? It's women too who spoke by the Ruach Kadash. And this is what it said. Spoke from Yahuwah as they were carried along by the Ruach Kadash. So it was carried along by the Ruach Kadash. It was carried along by the Ruach Kadash. Back to Sirach 33. He said, why would he say that? Going back to Sirach 33 and 3. It says, a man of understanding trusteth the law, and the law is faithful unto him as an oracle. Why? Because they were moved by the Ruach Kadash when they wrote it. Everything they wrote was moved by the Ruach Kadash. Why the heck would you not trust that? He's like, man, that was moved by the Ruach Kadash. He's like, yeah. He's like, man, that's an oracle to me. Because prophecy, the Ruach, he said, the novel, that's things to come. He's like, that's truth to me. He said, I could trust that. He said, prepare what to say, and thou shalt be heard, and bind up instructions, and then make answer. The heart of the foolish is like a cartwheel. Right? You ever seen a cartwheel? It's a cartwhel. And ain't talking about a cartwheel that somebody do. You can roll in your head. You can roll around in a cartwheel, right? But it says right here, and his thoughts, you know what it says? And his thoughts are like a rolling axle tree. He said, why is his thoughts like a rolling axle tree? Why would he say that? Why would he say why would he say his heart is foolish like a cartwheel and his thoughts are like a rolling axle tree? Why would he do that? Why would he say that? Right? This is the book of, he said a fool is like that. He said a fool is like that. Right? He said a fool is like that. Right? This is the book of Exodus, Shemuth, chapter 14:21. He said, a fool. Why would he say that? Because some people say things, and then I'll be like, and you ask yourself, why would he say something like that? Because you know it was moved by the Ruach Kadash when he said it, when it was wrote. So you got to ask yourself, what did he meant by that? Or even the translator, what did they mean by that? This is Exodus 14:21. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahuwah drove the sea back by a strong east wind all night. Why you mean east wind? We knew when the wind blew from what certain direction. We didn't have no compass in our hand. We knew exactly what was going on. We could discern the rule when it moved on the earth. We could see where the wind moved. He said, you can hear the wind. You see the sound. How you gonna know where the wind moved? Can you look at the trees? Which way it's coming from? The direction of the sun, and when it moves across the trees, and where the sun rose. That's how you know. We understood these things. And he said, if you can't discern it today, man, you are, he said you get your discernment skills up. But it says right here, and it says, and he drove the sea back from the strong east wind all night and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the people of Yasharal went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, the waters being a wall to them on the right and one on the left. That's why Yahushua was in between two thieves. That's why he was saying, why he on the right and left? Just like it was in the beginning, on the second day of creation. He said he put waters above and below. And he put the firmament in the middle, the Rakia. He said, I will multiply your seed as the stars of Shamash. Because Abraham obeyed my laws and my statutes and my commandments, right? But it said right here, and they divided and were divided, right? And it says right here, and the people of Yasharal went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the water being a wall on them on the right and on the left. And the Egyptians pursued and went after them in the midst of the sea, just like on the third day of creation, when this dry land appeared after the second day. He said, man, after the dry land appeared on the second day, this all happened on the second day. Separate the water from the water, then the dry land appeared. And then he sowed seed. But he can't sow seed until what? Until something happens. And guess what happens? And the Egyptians pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea. There go the fools right there. This is what fools do. You start pursuing people who doing this. You start pursuing people. You trying to do damage to their house. You trying to do something to me? Let's see what happens to them. And it says, and Pharaoh's horsemen, it says, the Egyptians pursued and went in after them in the midst of the sea, and all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots and his horsemen. And in the morning watch, Yahuwah, in the morning watch, because you know when you're supposed to do your offering to Yahuwah? He said, I don't really know these statutes. Yes, you do. You have a morning offering. David said he rebuked me every morning, didn't he say? He said, why would he do that? What do you have in the morning time? A sacrifice. And guess what it says? And in the morning watch, why do you think Yahushua said watch on the prayer? They were all praying in the garden, and he's like, man, take your rest. Take your rest. You don't know what's going on, do you? You don't even have a clue. And he says right here, and in the morning watch, the Yahuwah in the pillar of fire and the cloud looked down on Mizraim's forces and threw the Egyptians. He looked down on the Egyptian forces and threw the Egyptian forces into panic. He's like, man, a light appeared in the middle. He said a pillar appeared, a fire appeared in the morning watch. But you know, in the morning time, what happens? It's still a little dark. He said, man, this is a fire in the sky. How you say? There's a light in the sky. And it appeared in the middle of them. People say, why do Satan all and his beings got they craft and they flying craft? They say, why Satan all show you these things? Because he's trying to mimic the bride and the beloved. That's all he's trying to do. He's trying to mimic the bride and the beloved. Why do you think Satan all got it? The Vamanas, like they say. What do you think the Vamanas was used for? It was only used to mimic the beloved and the bride. That's all it's used for. And all these crafts they have, that's the only reason they use it. And it says right here, in the pillar of fire in the cloud, and looked down from Mizraim's forces and threw the Egyptian forces into panic. That's all they try to do. That's what they use them for. What do you think they're going to use all these things for? What do you think? Flying craft, Vamanas, and UFO, and they shoot out nuclear weapons. And back in the day, they show you, but they're showing you this why? To put fear in you. Why were you feeling? What people have Yahuwah so not? But it says right here, clogging get what it says, and threw them into a panic and clogging their chariot wheels. That's why he said they like chariot. He said the fools are like a cart wheel, like a chariot wheel, because they pursue the righteous in their stupidity as a fool. He said, why would you do that? He said, that's what fools do. And guess what happened to them? It says, and drove heavily, and the Egyptians said, let us flee from before Yasharal, for Yahuwah fights for them against the Egyptians. Why would he clog their wheels? Because they just like them cartwheels. Them cartwheels, you know those wheels are used for? Oppression. Those carts, they use them horses for oppression, for slavery. They used it for that. They used it to get their gain. That's why they put it, in the day, they put it on cartwheels and they put their gain on it, and then they were carted away. And then guess what it says? And he says, and Yahuwah fights against the Egyptians. And then Yahuwah said to Shamash, stretch out your hand over the sea, that the water may come back on the Egyptians upon their chariots and upon their horsemen. Right? That's what happens to them. This is the book of Sirach. Back this book of Sirach, chapter 5, 33 and 5. It says, the heart of the foolish is like a cartwheel, and his thoughts are like a rolling axle tree. And it's just like that. And guess what it says? A stallion's horse is as a mocking friend. Why do you think they mocked Yahusha on the totality? I mean, he's like a mocking friend. He said he's like a horse. And people say, where did you get that? A horse of course, of course, of course. And that horse used to mock him every single day. And you say, where did they get that from? Mr. Ed. Where do you think they get that from? He's mocking his friends. And guess what it says? And it says, a stallion horse is like a mocking friend, and neighing under every one that sitteth upon him. He's talking against him. Right? He's just like a mocking friend. He's like, man, you like a horse. It says, why doth one day excel another, when all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? He said every day of the year is for the sun. I prepared a tent for the sun. Every day of the year is supposed to be like, he said, just like the sun rises in the day dawn, the day star rises in your heart. It's supposed to be every day, it's supposed to be like the sun. It should be like the sunrise. What happens when the sun rises? Right? It says, verse 8 says, by the knowledge of Yahuwah, they were distinguished, and he altered the seasons. He altered seasons and feasts. Some of them hath he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them he hath made ordinary days. And all men are from the ground, and Adam was created on the earth. He's like, man, look at here. I done gave you these. What people have Yahuwah so not? What people have commandments so right? Who have Yahuwah so close to them? You, man, you be like a fool. Don't be pursuing them. You be like a fool on a cart wheel, on chariot wheels. You be like a neighing horse. And they people saying, why they neighing that Yahusha? Nay, they neighing that Yahusha when he was on totality. They mocked him. Even the scribes and the elders and the teachers did that. But he said every day gonna be like the sun, because I prepared a tent for the sun. I prepared a tent for the sun. Right. So this is the book of. Right, so this is the book of. Alright, so this is the book of. Back to Psalms 19 and 5. Well, he said every day is supposed to be like this. He said, why would he do that? Psalm 19 and 5, 19 and 4. Their voice goes out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world, and you can't forget them. Because if you forget them, you're gonna lose your. He said you're gonna lose your sunlight. What's the point of you who are allowing the sun to rise in your heart? You ain't got nothing there. You ain't did nothing. You don't know nothing. Why would he allow the sun to rise? And it says, in them he has set a tent, Ahal, for the sun, because it's supposed to be like that every day. It's supposed, of course, it would be like the sun. Man, the feast move just like that. And it says, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. It come out. When it rises inside you, it's like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. Guess what happens? And like a strong man runs his course with joy. Just like that. And it resonates inside of you just like that. All right, so this is second Enoch. Second Enoch. Second Enoch. Second Enoch, chapter 2 Supergrapher, Volume 1. Second Enoch, Supergrapher, Volume 1. Supergrapher, Volume 1, Chapter 12. Chapter 12. It says, and I looked and saw flying spirits, the solar elements, it says called phoenixes, and the called Qahalath, strange and wonderful. Right? So you look at all these beings that they show you. They even show you the order of the phoenix in this world. Right? You have certain beings and women that are part of it. You have other beings, they show you this. It says strange and wonderful, for their form was like that of a lion, and their tail it says in their head, it says like a crocodile. He says their appearance was mostly colored like a rainbow. Their side was 900 measures. Their wings were those of angels, malachim. It says, but they have 12 wings each. They accompany and run with the sun. Huh? They do what? They run with the sun, carrying heat and dew, because nobody can hide from the heat. And what they do, and whatever is commanded them from Elohim. That's what they do. Whatever Yahuwah commands. And guess what it says? Thus he goes through a cycle. And he goes down and he rises up across the sky and beneath the earth in the light of his rays, with the light of his rays. And he was there on the track unceasingly. It never stopped. Unceasingly. They say it was faithful in love. It just keep going. And guess what it says? Yeah. But that's it for that. But you start looking at it, right? So this is the book of Yeshayahu 29. Yeshayahu 29. Yeshayahu 29. Yeshayahu 29. Yeshayahu 29 and 1. It says, Ariel, the city where Dawood encamped. Add year to year. Let the feast run their round. Let the feast run their round. Why? Because he talks about it's going to be your wisdom and understanding inside of the people. He said, let the feast run their round. Yet I will distress Ariel, and there shall be moaning and lamentations. And she shall be like me, she shall be to me like Ariel. And I will encamp against you all around, and will besiege you with towers. And I will raise siege works against you, and you will be brought low. Why would he bring you low? He said you exalted. He said, man, you haughty. He said you got gabah. He said you pride. He said I'm gonna bring you low. From the earth you shall speak. He said, I'm going to bring you low from the earth, you're going to speak. And from the dust, your speech will be bowed down. He said, from the dust, your speech will be bowed down. Your voice shall come from the ground like the voice of a ghost. It says ghost here. And from the dust, your speech shall whisper. But he said, but the multitude of the foreign foes shall be small dust, and the multitude of ruthless like passing child. So this is the book of skipping down. This book of Yeshayahu 29:11. Actually, 29 and 9. It says, astonish yourselves and be astonished. Blind. It says, blind yourselves and be blind. Be drunk, but not with wine. Stagger, but not with strong drink. For Yahuwah hath poured out upon you the ruach of deep sleep. And close your eyes, the Nabi'im, and cover their heads, the seers. And the visions of all this has become to you like words in a book that is sealed. When men give it to one who can read, say, read this, as he says. I cannot, for it is sealed. And when they give it the book to one who cannot read, saying, read this, he says, I cannot read. And Yahuwah says, because this people draw near to me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me, and their fear of me is the commandment taught by men. He said, man, this ain't my stuff. This ain't got nothing to do with me. And he said, therefore, behold, I will again do wonderful things with this people, with wonder upon wonder. And the wisdom, and the wisdom of their wise men shall perish. He said, when you do stuff that ain't got nothing to do with me, he talk about me, he said, man, all that stuff gonna perish. Like you see all these beings, these humans getting possessed by these other beings in the Rakita, come here and giving all this wisdom and knowledge and understanding and all this stuff, all this foolish stuff, and you were like, yeah, all that stuff gonna come down. Why? And then, you know what people do? Just like Cool in the Garden, just like the people in Yashua, they go and stiff church that, and they soak it all in, and then guess what happens? You're gonna perish with it. He said, you're gonna go with them. And it says, therefore, and the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the discernment of their discerning men shall be hidden. Ah, you who hide deep from Yahuwah your counsel, whose deeds are in the dark. Because he said, man, he said, it blinds your soul. He said, hatred blinds people's souls. He said, you hide in the dark. And who sees us? Who knows us? You turn things upside down. Shall the potter be regarded as the clay? He's like, man, you switch this thing around. You reverse roles. So now the potter is now the clay. The potter is the clay now. I'm the person making it. So now you're going to make me the clay and you the potter. You're going to make me into whatever you want me to be. Yahuwah like, say what? And he says that the thing made should say to its maker. So who the maker? So I'm the maker. Yahuwah like, I'm the maker. Yahushua like, I came and died for the sins of men that they may redeem in their life. So who the maker? And he said to his maker, he did not make me. They be like, man, Yahuwah ain't make me. That's what they say today. When you soak that wisdom in they got, they be like, Yahuwah ain't make me. I made it. I made the Nile. I made the stars. I made Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. I made Andromeda star system that aligns with the Nile River. I made that stuff. You were like, say what? And guess what he says? And he did not make me, or the thing formed, say to him who formed it, he has no understanding. Verse 17, is it not yet a very little while until Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be regarded as a forest? When does that happen? When does a fruitful field form in the forest? In the wintertime? In the summertime. In the summertime, when the sun is traveling on the seven celestial circles, how you gonna bear fruit within yourself? And Enoch, it talks about the sun, it moves and it's unceasingly. It doesn't stop. It keeps moving. It doesn't stop. The very same thing what you see with the sun, the Shamash, the very same thing when you see the sun, when the summer fruit rise. He said when you see the actual fig tree leaves, you know that summer is near. But I forgot. People forgot about the trees. They think they're irrelevant. They're a bunch of irrelevant things that have been here longer than you. And it says right here, it says, regarding the forest, in that day the deaf shall hear the words of a book. And out of their gloom and darkness, the eyes of the blind shall see. In that day, the deaf shall hear the words of a book. Now the gloom of darkness, the eyes of the blind shall see. So you look at all of that, what he just said, in Yeshayahu, the book of Yeshayahu. So we're going to go to the Aramaic Targums. The Aramaic Targums. Aramaic Targums, Jonathan, Bereshit chapter 2 and 7. And Yahuwah Elohim created Adam with two inclinations. And he took the dust from the sight of the sanctuary, and from the four winds of the world, and a mixture of the waters of the world. And he created red, black, and white. And he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and became And the breath became the body of Adam, a ruach capable of speech. Whoa. Capable of speech to do what? To give light to the eyes and give hearing to the ears. He opened the eyes of the blind and give hearing to the ears. How you gonna do that? You gotta speak. He said, when all the nations shall hear of these statutes, how you gonna hear it? You gotta have to speak it. How you gonna hear the rebuke of the wild? You gotta hear it. How you gonna understand it? Hey, I'm gonna have to get you to hear it. He said, before the creation of the world, right? All that happens, right? So this is the book of, I think it's Zephaniah, Zephaniah, Zephaniah chapter 1. Let's go to Zephaniah chapter 1. It says, the word of Yahuwah that came to Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Kazekiah, in the days of Josiah, son of Amnon, king of Yehuda. I will utterly sweep away everything from the face of the earth, declares Yahuwah. I will sweep away man and beast, and I will sweep away birds of the Shamash. When he did that? He did that in the beginning. It's the same Yahuwah. I am Yahuwah, I change not. He ain't changed. It's the same person. The same person who did all that in the beginning, to all of the Nephilim, the giants from Jaza, Azazel, Azbaal, Amarok, and all their teachings and doctrines, and all the children of Cain, and all those who follow the teachings of the fallen, and all those people who follow all their ways and their behaviors, he the same person. He the same person. You know how you say your father or your mother, you be like, man, y'all, but he say, you know you still my child, right? You know you still my son. People like, who ain't my father? So you gonna make the part of the clay. He said, oh, okay, so you're gonna make the part of the clay, that means you are your father Satan. Right, that's what Satan teaches. And it says right here, and I will sweep away the man and beast, and I will sweep away birds of the Shamaim, and the fish of the sea, and the rubble with the wicked. He's like, I'm gonna tear this all down, just like he did in the beginning. You know, he who saw the imagination of man was evil continually. He said, man, by his word in the Aramaic terms, he grieved me to our heart. By my word that I even made it. Because my words are what people are supposed to hold to. Because they were moved by the Ruach Hadash. Ruach Marakav Alafani. Just like in the beginning, on the first day, he's like, man, this is moved by the Ruach. Why would y'all not listen to my words? And he says, and I will cut off mankind from the face of the earth, declares Yahuwah. And I will stretch out my hand against Yehuda. Same Yahuwah from the beginning. It's the same person. And I will stretch out my hand against Yehuda and against the inhabitants of Jerusalem. He the same, he who destroyed the earth in the last time with water for a whole 364-day cycle. Same person. And it says, and I will against Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off from this place the remnant of Baal. He said, why? Because man, they forgot me for Baal Peor. They forgot all my statutes and judgments. And guess what? He said, I'm going to cut you off. People, they would even give honor to Baal by how they operate in their households. He said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut out the remnant of Baal. He said, there's a remnant according to the election of Khan. But those people who hold the Baal and his teachings and his doctrine, guess what I'm going to do? And what he says and his words, he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut you out with him. Just like I cut and prune the tree. Guess what he says? And the name of idolatrous priests along with the priests. He said, I'm going to get all their teachers and all the priests that go with them. And people say, I want to hold to that in my mind. He's like, so you want to keep that in your head? Those priests with them seeds sold, they sold. He's saying, no, I don't want that. He says, those who bow down on the roofs to the host of the Shamaim, to all the Rekia, to all of the hosts of the Shamash. He said, you're going to bow down to the Rakia and the hosts of the Shamash, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, Andromeda, the Her star. You finna bow down to that? To the Hunter star? To Orion? To the Kima Quetzal? So you're going to bow down to the one who holds the 7 stars, the whole Pleiadian star system in his right hand. You're going to do that? He said, okay. And it says, those who bow down on the roofs to the host of Shamaim, those who bow down and swear to Yahuwah, and yet swear to Makam, those who have turned their back from following Yahuwah. He's like, you turn your back to me? From following Yahuwah? Who do not seek Yahuwah or inquire of him. He's like, they don't even seek after me. They don't even inquire of me. They go do stuff. Yahuwah. So the potter going to be made of clay, so you just going to do what you want to do. Yahuwah like, so I guess I'm the clay now. And they the potter. They do what they want. It's like a father in the house when he has his children, and his children be like, so y'all the potter now. I'm the clay now. Y'all the potter. Y'all make me into whatever you want to make me into. And get what he said. Verse 7 said, be silent before Yahuwah your Elohim, for the day of Yahuwah is near. So he's like, since y'all doing all that currently today, he's like, everybody be quiet. He said, everybody just be quiet. It'd be better for you just to be quiet, because it's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than hear the song of the fool. He said, everybody be silent before Yahuwah Elohim, for the day of Yahuwah is near. Yahuwah has prepared a sacrifice and consecrated his guests. He's like, man, I done did it. I prepared a sacrifice, and guess what? I told all the people I sent an invitation out and told them to consecrate themselves. To do what? And on the day of Yahuwah's sacrifice, I will punish the officials and the king's sons. All the rulers, the officials and the king's sons. All the rulers, all the people that head and rule this world, who rule these places, these buildings, these people, these households, these families, these congregations, these people. All these people, he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get all punished, all their officials, the kings, and their sons. Where they at? And all who array themselves in foreign attire. He's like, I had a certain attire that you're supposed to wear to this type of occasion. He's like, what y'all doing? And guess what he says? And on that day I will punish everyone who leaps over the threshold, and those who fill their master's houses with violence and fraud. He said fraud, violence. We just read in the first verse, what did he destroy? He said, I'm going to wipe this place clean, just like I did in the beginning. What was the earth filled with? Violence, unjust gain, and fraud. Forbidden attire is what? This is attire that you will purchase through unjust gain and fraud. It's idolatry. It's all idolatry. The same thing that people wear clothes that give toward idolatry. He's like, what are you doing? It's fraud. On that day, declares Yahuwah, a cry will be heard from the fish gate to the well of the second quarter, and a loud crash on the hills, right? So this is the book of the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles, Shalakim, recognitions of Clement. This is chapter XV, or chapter 17, suggestions of the old serpent. Above all, therefore, you ought to understand the deception of the old serpent and his cunning suggestions, who deceives you, as it were by prudence, and by sort of reasons creeps through your senses, beginning at the head, he glides through your inner marrow, accounting to deceiving you a great gain, unjust gain, fraud. Because that's what he is. Unjust gain, violence, fraud. It's a game to get you. You get what it says? Therefore, he enunciates in your minds opinions of Yahuwah, and whatsoever kinds, only that he may withdraw you from Amunah of Yahuwah Elohim, knowing that your sin is his comfort. For he is immorality, was condemned from the beginning to eat dust. He mean eat rubble. And guess what happens? For he caused to be again resolved into the dust him who had been taken from the dust. Because he said he didn't hear the rebuke of the wise. Because they didn't want to keep the commandments. They want to observe it with their whole heart. He said, without envy, jealousy, strife, complaining, criticism, pride, adultery, fornication, idolatry, harlotry, haughtiness, anger, resentment, bitterness. People ain't want to observe it that way. And guess what he says? And he says, knowing that your sins is his comfort. For his immorality was condemned from the beginning to eat dust, but that he caused to be again resolved to the dust him who was taken from the dust, even to the time when your beings will be restored, being brought through the fire, and we will instruct you at another time. But it says, from him therefore proceeds all error and doubts, by which you are driven from Amunah and belief in one Elohim. Right, this is the book of Luke 11 and 1. Luke or Yah 11 and 1. Now Yahushua was praying in a certain place, and when he finished, one of his disciples, his scholars, said to him, Master, teach us to pray, as Yahushua taught his disciples. And he said to them, when you pray, say, Father, hallowed be your name. Your malkuth, your kingdom come. Give us each day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins. For we ourselves forgive everyone who is indebted to us. And lead us not into temptation. This is the ESV. And he said to them, which of you who has a friend will go to him at midnight and say to him, friend, lend me 3 loaves? Because he said, lead us not into temptation. But it says, who will ask for 3 loaves? For a friend of mine has arrived on a journey and had nothing to set before him. And he will answer from within, do not bother me. The door is now shut, and my children are in my bed, are with me in bed. He's like, don't bother me, it's midnight. He's like, it's midnight. He said, your lamp supposed to be continually burning, right? And he said, the foolish virgin, he said, 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. He said, 1, man, the lamp was continually burning. But the other ones, no. They only have enough oil to last 6 hours. And it says right here, and my children are in bed. I cannot get up and give you anything. She was like, Yahusha like, man, sleep on it. Take your rest. You know how he says, your lamp supposed to be continually burning. When the disciples were praying and Yehuda was on his way, Judas, he was like, you can't pray with me for 1 hour? You can't pray with me for 1 hour? Let's see what happens. I tell you, though he will go, he said, I tell you, though he will not get up and give him anything, because he is his friend, yet because of his impudence, he will arise and give him whatever he needs. Why? Because your lamp got to continually burn. Your lamp can't go out. He said, get it every person who asks you. Because your lamp got to continue to burn, even at midnight. Because behold, at midnight, there was a cry made. You got 3 loaves. Behold, the bridegroom coming. He said, you done unto the least of them, you done unto who? Unto me. I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. Leave me alone. He said, no, I'm going to get up and give him something. And guess what it says? And whatsoever he needs. And I tell you, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you. I need bread. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, it will be open. But we read in Yeshayahu 29, they don't even seek. He said, man, you know what, I'm going. He said, don't even seek that. For what father among you, if his son asks for a fish, will instead give him a serpent? But it says, or if he asks an egg, and you will give him a scorpion. If you then who are evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father give you the Kudash Ruach to those who ask Him? Because the Kudash men were moved by the Ruach Kudash. They wrote it, which means they did something that other people did not do. They did something that other people are not willing to do. They didn't seek after Him. They didn't ask for no bread to write down, to give to other people, to share with other people. They didn't ask. Why do you think Maureen wrote in the book of Maureen? She said what? The only reason y'all sin because you love the things that deceive you. You love that wisdom that you think is above the potter. Right, so this is the book of, this is the book of, Luke 6 and 6. Luke 6 and 6. Oriah, Luke 6 and 6. On another Shabbat, he entered the synagogue or congregation and was teaching. And a man was there whose right hand was withered. He's like, man, his right hand withered. Why? You know that right hand important? He said, why would a person's right hand be withered? He said, why would his right hand be withered? This is Psalms 137. He said, why would his right hand be withered? He said, why would his right hand be withered? Psalm Tahalim 137 and 1. By the waters of Babylon, there we sat down and wept. When we remembered Sound, the parched place, the mountain. On the willows, there we hung our lowries, and for there our captives required of a song, and our tormentors mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Sound. He said, people that take you captive. He said, people say they think they know they're captive. But do you know you don't even know you're captive? Your captive took on so many forms, you don't even know which one it is. But they always want you to sing. But it says right here, sing is one of them songs of Zion. How shall we sing Yahuwah's song in a foreign land? With a foreign God. Get what he says. If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. That's why his right hand withered. Because he forgot the words. When he said they forgot my words, he said, Yahuwah, David said in Psalm 1:4, your righteousness, everlasting righteousness, I ain't forget your words. He said his right hand withered. He said, man, Yahushua came to a man whose right hand will wither. Man, what happened to your right hand? Your right hand is important, right? He said, let me forget his skill. Let my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. If I don't remember you, if I don't not set Jerusalem above, if I do not set Jerusalem above as my highest joy in the ESV. The Jerusalem above as my highest joy. What do you mean joy? Because he said the sun gonna run his course in joy because he prepared a tent for the sun. He prepared a tent for the sun. Why do you think his hand with it? Right, this book is Job 22. Job 22 and 1. Ehud, Job 22 and 1. Job 22 and 1. Job 22:13. Job 22:13. This is, but you say, what does Yahuwah know? He said, what you think? He's like, why? You think you're gonna make the pot of the clay? He said, what you think Yahuwah know? Can he judge through the deep darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so that he does not see. That's what you think? And he walks on the vaults of the Shamash. Why do you think Yahushua was going to take on the totality? And the sun went down from the 6th to the 9th hour. And they were looking at him on the cross, on totality, seeing him ride on the wings of the wind. And he walks like on the vaults of the Shamash. What else rides on the vaults of the Shamash? The sun. The sun. And it says, will you keep the old way that wicked men have tried? Will you do that? Wicked men and women have tried the same thing. They walk this way. So you're going to keep that way? He said, you're going to keep the way of the past generations? He's like, why would I keep that? I'm not gonna take that with me. And it says right here, they were snatched away before their time. Because that's what happens to you when you keep the old way and the old system and the old way of people did. You're like, why would I do that? Why would I do that? I'm gonna die before my time. I'm gonna walk in the way of evil men and women? No. Their foundation was washed away. Why? Because they built their house on the sand. Their foundation is washed away. Why? They built their house on the sand. But you know what happened to the wise man? He built his house on the rock. You know why he's wise? Because it's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than the song of a fool. Man, he said fools are like a chariot wheels. What happened when the Messiah went through the water? He lifted up his rod and the water was on the right and the left. What did he ride his chariot wheels on? He was pursuing the children of Yasharal. He was riding the sand. Not even knowing what's getting ready to happen to him. And it says, right, he said, and they said to Yahuwah, depart from us. And what can the Almighty do to us? He's like, man, forget him. Depart from us, get out of here. Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad. The innocent one mocks at them, saying, surely our adversaries are cut off. And what they left, the fires has consumed. Right, go to verse 22. Receive instruction from my mouth and lay up the words in your heart. David said, I didn't forget them. Lay them up in your mind. If you return to Yahuwah, you will be built up. That's what Yahuwah does. He said, I'm going to build you up. And if you're removing justice from your tent, because you got to prepare a tent for the sun. But why would you walk in the way of them who were snatched away before their time? It said, if you're removing justice from your tent, and if you lay up gold in the dust and go over among the stones of the torrent, then the Yahuwah will be your gold and your precious silver. For then you will delight yourself in the Almighty, and you will lift up your face to Yahuwah Elohim, and you will make your prayer to him, and he will hear you, and you will pay your vows. It says, and you will decide on a matter, and it will be established for you. And light will shine, Light will shine where? On your ways, because I prepared a tent, a hall for the sun. They're going to shine on your ways. It says, and for when they are humbled, you say, it is because of pride. But he saves the lowly. And guess what? Go back to Luke Oriah, chapter 6. Going back to Luke 6 and 1. Luke 6 and 6. And on another Shabbat, he entered the synagogue and was teaching. And a man was there with his right hand withered. He's like, man, I forgot. And get what he said. And the scribes and the Pharisees watched him to see whether he would heal on the Shabbat. He's like, man, you going to heal this man who forgot about Jerusalem? The highest Jerusalem? The Jerusalem above? Because the scribes and the Pharisees, they want to talk about the Jerusalem above. He was in the synagogue, this place in Jerusalem. But he's saying the one above. Because you know, as above, so below. Because nothing is from the earth. Everything is from above. Jerusalem above as my highest joy. Not the Jerusalem on the earth. And it says, you're going to heal on the Shabbat, so that they might find a reason to accuse him. But he knew their thoughts. That's the only reason. I know your thoughts. He said, I already know your thoughts on Shabbat. He said, I can read your mind. I already know what you're thinking in your mind. You get what he said? And he said to the man with the withered hand, who forgot about you, he said, who lost the skill of his right hand, what he said? Come and stand here. You know, people, when people lose their skill of their right hand, you know what people do? They cast your way. They say, you ain't nobody. Yeah, look at you. Ha, ha, ha. Look what happened to you. He's like, man, I forgot about the highest Jerusalem. These scribes and the Pharisees, they're in the lower Jerusalem. But the one in the highest Shamash, who sits above the Shabbat Shamash, Jerusalem above, is greater than Jerusalem down here on earth. Fear not man who can destroy the body on earth. That's Jerusalem on earth. Fear Yahuwah in the highest Shamash, who will destroy body and soul in the other Jerusalem and throw you in a lake of fire. He said, why would I do that? And he knew their thoughts, and he said to the man with the withered hand, come and stand here. And he arose and stood there. And Yahushua said to them, I ask you. So he asking a man with a withered hand who forgot about all this stuff, Jerusalem, he asking somebody nobody would even pay attention to, even the scribes and the Pharisees. Let's see, watch them and see if he's going to heal somebody. And guess see what happened. And I ask you, is it lawful on the Shabbat to do good or to do harm? Because they forgot about all the good they need to do. This is our law. This is our statutes and judgments. We do all this Torah, this commandment. He said, is it good to do harm? Jeremiah chapter 6 says they wise to do evil, but they don't know how to do good. So he said, is it lawful on the Shabbat to do good or harm? So he asking somebody who ain't supposed to know that. He says, to save life or destroy it. He asking this person that. So what do you think? And he said, and after looking around at them, all he said to him, stretch out your hand. That's all he did. After he did all that, all he said was this, stretch out your right hand. That's all he told him to do. Stretch out your right hand, because his right hand withered. And guess what he said? And he did so. And his hand was what? Restored. His hand was restored. His hand was restored. And guess what happened? But they were filled with fury, because that's what happened. Man, restored this man's hand. He asked him questions about the Torah. He's like, man, is it good to heal, to do good, or to do harm? Because when Yahuwah made the earth, it was very good. Or is it good to save or a life or destroy it? Why would I destroy it? I came to save people. He said, no. He said, just stretch out your hand. And he restored his right hand. And it says, but they were filled with fury and disgust with one another, what they might do to Yahushua. Why? Because once he did that, he did a lot of things when he did that. Right? So this is the book of, we almost finished. This is Joseph and Asenath. Joseph and Asenath. Joseph and Asenath. Here, this is Joseph and Asenath, chapter 3, chapter 5. Joseph and Asenath, chapter 5, in verse 1. Pseudepigrapha, volume 2. And a young man of Pethrer's servants rushed in and says, behold, Yusuf is standing before the doors of the court. And Asenath fled from her father and mother in the presence. And when she heard them speak these words about Yusuf, and went up into the upper floor and entered her chamber, and stood by the large window, and one looking east, in order to see Yusuf entering her father's house. And Pethrer's and his wife and his whole family went out to meet Yusuf, and his gates and the gates of the court, looking east, were open. And Yusuf entered, standing on Pharaoh's second chariot. He said he's standing on the second chariot, and the 4 horses, white as snow, and with golden bridles were they harnessed to it. And the entire chariot was manufactured of pure gold. So he had a chariot of pure gold, right? All in his chariot, right? So back to Luke Luke. Luke chapter 6, verse 12. And in these days he went out to the mountain to pray. Right? So we look at going, he said going to the mountain to pray. But he said in the last days the mountain of Yahuwah going to be established in the top of the mountains and exalted above every heart of the earth. And all goyim, all people shall flow to it. And in those days he went out to the mountain to pray. And all night he continued in prayer to Yahuwah. So all night, all the night watches, during the watch times. And what did he do? And when day came, because you know the day started, remember he leaves just like a bride leaving, the bridegroom leaving his chamber. The son leaves just like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. And when the day came, he called to his disciples and chose for them 12. He chose what? He chose 12 disciples, scholars. Because he rose out of he prayed all night. So it's just like the sun going down. When you see the sun go down this portal, it gets dark. And when he's on the mountain, and guess what happens? He prayed all night, and then he arose just like the sun, and guess what happened? And it says, and the day came, and he called his disciples, and he chose to them 12. He chose 12. Yeah, he chose 12. Whom he named Shalakim. He chose 12 what? Shalakim. Simon, whose name was Kob, Andrew, his brother, and James, and Yochanan, and Philip, and Bartholomew, and Matthew, and Thomas, and Jacob, the son of Alphaeus, and Simon, who was called Zealot, and Yehuda, the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, whom became the traitor. So he chose 12 disciples. 12. According to the 12 tribes of Yasharal, according to the 12 Kadash, or months of the year, according to 12 pillars. Are you saying even as Ishmael, when Abraham, he said going to be 12 pillars and foundations, guess what? Who do you think those were? The 12 Shalakim, the 12 tribes, all the way down through your code. Who do you think they were? Who do you think he was speaking about? It was all talking about him. He said, search the scriptures, and if you think you have eternal life, it's all talking about me. But he chose 12. And what he did, and he came down with them. So he came down from the mountain with them. So he rose just like the sun. Then he chose 12, and then he came down from the mountain. And guess what happened? And he stood on a level place. So he went from a high place to a level place. And with a great crowd, all his disciples and the great multitude of the people from Yahuda, from Judea and Jerusalem, and the seacoast of Tyre, who came here to him and to be healed of their diseases. So the son, when he rose up just like the sun, he chose 12, and when he came down, he got to a level plane, and the people came to him to be healed of their diseases, their body diseases, their thought diseases, their mind diseases, all the things, their withered hands. And those who were troubled with unclean spirits were cured. They were all cured of their demons, their shadim, of Asmodeus, Lysthirax. They were cured of all of the spirits. He said, why? The phantoms. He said they were cured of disease. And all the crowd sought to touch him. For the power came out from him, and he healed them all. Why do you want to touch him? Out of all the things, why do you want to touch him? And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, Barak, his scholars, Barak are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of Elohim. Barak are you who are hungry now, for you shall be satisfied. Barak are you who weep now, for you shall laugh. Barak are you, why? Because the countenance of the heart is made better. You ain't gonna know gladness until you reach sorrow. He says, you laugh. Barak are you when people hate you, and when they exclude you and revile you and spurn your name off as evil. Ra. He said, Barak are you, on the account of the son of Yahuwah. Why are they doing it? Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, because the sun moves its course with joy. It moves its procession with joy. It's unceasingly. And amazingly, we read in the book of Enoch, Hanut, when he saw the solar cycles, he said they had Malachim, and each of them had 12 wings. And people saying, why he said that? And they traveled with the sun and the solar cycle unceasingly. And amazing, Yahushua had 12 disciples. And he came down from the mountain and he was healing people with all their diseases. And guess what it says? And guess what he said? Barak are you when people hate you and they exclude you and revile you and spurn your name off as evil account of the son of Yahuwah. Rejoice and leap for joy. For behold, your reward is great in Shamash. For so their fathers did to the prophets, did to the Nabi'im. They did that to the prophets. These Shalakim, whom Yahushua chose, he said, they not prophets. But he said they did the same thing to the prophets. Because anything that comes out from Yahuwah, they destroy it. He said, you got Yahushua, the 12 Shalakim, and the Nabi'im, the prophets. And what they do? But woe to you who is rich, for you have received your consolation. He said, what do you got unjust gain? He said, woe to you who got unjust gain. Because Yahuwah saw it. Yahuwah saw it. Right, so back to Joseph and Asenath. Yusuf and Asenath, chapter 5. Chapter 5, verse 5. It says, it was manufactured of pure gold, and Yusuf was dressed in an exquisite white tunic, and a golden crown was on his head. And around the crown were 12 chosen stones. How many disciples did Yahushua choose? 12. 12. And he prayed all night on that mountain. And then he arose when the day dawned and the sun rose. He rose exactly when the sun rose. And what happened? And were 12 chosen stones. And on the top of the 12 stones were 12 golden rays. 12 golden rays. How many disciples did he have? 12. And guess what happened? They had 12 golden rays on each one. He said these Malachim, when they travel with solar cycles, and they travel with the sun, guess what? They all had 12 wings. As a matter of fact, it says that they were 12 golden rays. What do you think the 12 golden rays are? What does the sun give you when it rises? Rays. Sun rays. You can feel it on your face. Because wisdom is good with an inheritance, and it profited them to see the sun. Why do you think it was profiting those people to see Yahushua come down from the mountain with his 12 disciples? Or you mean his 12 rays, and he was going around healing people? Wisdom is good with an inheritance. It profited them that could see the sun. It profits them to see the sun. They were healed from all their diseases, all their mental diseases, all the demons, all the shadim, all the spirits. They were being tormented by the word, because demons can't be around this part. That's why when he get thrown in fire, it's not my word like fire. They're going to be thrown in the word, because demons can't take it. And they're going to be thrown in the word and be tormented with the word in Sheol. That's what Sheol is. It's the word. And when you hate the word, it's like hell. It's literally like hell. You ever ask somebody, man, I feel like I'm in hell. This is hell. I've heard that before. This is like hell. Exactly, because the spirits on the inside of you, the demons on the inside of you, can't take the bar. And it's like hell for you. Because they're being tormented before the time. And it says right here, and it says, and chosen stones, on the top of the 12 stones were 12 golden rays. Because you can't hide from the heat. You can't hide from the sun. Because he prepared a tent for the sun. So what are you? And get what it says. And a royal staff was in his left hand and his right hand. Why do you think he gave him two thieves? Why do you think Yasharal and Yehuda was on the left and his right? Because he had 12 sons, 12 tribes. He had a ruler staff in his right and his left hand. And guess what it says? And he outstretched an olive branch. An olive what? An olive branch. Oh, so that your lamp can continually burn. Oh, you mean that your pure olive oil beaten works, beaten, that your lamp may be continually burning, unceasingly. And guess what it says? And there was plenty of fruit on it. Oh, he said, I'm gonna give you plenty of fruit. We ready to soften you up. He said, I'm gonna restore all this back. I'm gonna give it all back. Because when the fruit comes, when the sun comes, in summer fruit, in the summertime, when the sun passes, gets to the longest day, man, the summer fruit come. It's coming. And it's going to have plenty of fruit. It happens when the sun comes. Why you think you got 12 rays? Why do you think the sun produces on the inside of you and allows you to produce fruit? Kindness, Ahal, joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, Amuna, self-control. These are the fruits of the Ruach. They produce inside of you. And guess what it says? And fruit on it. And the fruits was a great wealth of oil. 10 virgins. 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. Because you know wisdom is such to your soul. But you know that forbidden honey, like Qahalath, that we read in Psalms, I believe it was chapter 5, he said, man, that forbidden honey, when he thought it was going to make you wise. But he said, no, that's not the honey you need to be eating. That's not the bar you need to be eating. He said, it's like a wealth of oil, man. That thing been keep you burning for days. So you would be rise at midnight like that man who needed that bread. You just wake up and give it to him. Because you done it to the least of them, you done it to me. And guess what it says? And there was plenty of fruit on it, and the fruit was great wealth of oil. And Yusuf entered the court, and the gates of the court were closed, and every man and woman, strange, remained outside the court, because the guards of the gate drew tight at end, and closed the door, and all the strangers were closed. And Phinehas and his wife and his whole family, except the daughter Asenath, went to prostrate themselves face down to the ground before Yusuf. They did what? Like we hit the ground. You come to torment us before the time, you know how to say, get on the ground. You know, the officers come in, when the police come in, they be like, get on the ground. Or a person who's coming to rob you, come to take over, get on the ground. And you got what he said. And Yusuf descended from his chariot and greeted them with his right hand. With his what? With his right hand. David said, if I forget you, the highest Shamash, Jerusalem above, he said, let me lose the skill of my right hand. Man, Yahushua saw a man hand, right hand, hold with him. He said, man, come over here. Man, is it right to do good or evil? Is it right to destroy or to bring alive? He said, stretch out your hand. He said, man, I'll give you your right hand back. He greeted him with his right hand. So this is the book of, this is the book of he greeted him with his right hand. All right, so this is the book of This is the book of Psalms, Tehillim, 144 and 6, 144 and 5. It says, bow your heavens, O Yahuwah, and come down. Why do you think the people hit the ground when Yusuf came down? He's like, man, bow down. He said, if I forget you in the highest Shemaim, shoot, I'll be thinking the fourth day of creation that the people don't put bow down to. He said, search the scriptures. And you think you have eternal life? Man, it's testifying about me. He said, what? Bow down, your heavens, O Yahuwah. Bow down your heavens, O Yahuwah, and come down. Why do you think the mother, the father, and the daughter bow down? So I, the sun, moon, the stars bow down and worship you? That's what he said in Genesis chapter 35, 37 to you. He said, bow down your heavens, O Yahuwah, and come down. Why do you think they were telling Yahushua to come down? Come down from the cross, and we'll believe in you. He did come down. When Yusuf came and got him down from the cross, when he went to bury him in the tomb, he did come down. People just forgot about it. And he did come down. And he bowed down to Shamash when he caused them all to go dark. And it said right here, it says, touch the mountains so that they smoke. Flash forth the lightning and scatter them. Send out your arrows and rout them. Stretch out your hand, your hand. What hand do you think that is? He holds the 7 stars in his right hand. Why do you think Yusuf greeted him with his right hand? Again, it says, send out your arrows and rout them. Stretch out your hand, from on high. rescue me and deliver me from the many waters. He said, stretch out your right hand and deliver me from the many waters. And guess what happens? And from the hand of foreigners, whose mouths speak lies, and what they do? What these false lies do? How many people would stay out their right hand and spoke lies? He's like, man, here's my hand. He's like, dude from Unbreakable. You stick out his right hand, now it's time for you to see. But the action should be reverse roles. It should be the other person in the chair, the other person standing up. It should be the person, I shake a person's hand who all he did was lie, and he's a fornication, and then he stick out his hand, and then you be like, it's time for you to see who I really am. Because he ain't elusive. He ain't him. He said, I come to deliver you from the demons, from the shadim, from the spirits that have been plaguing you, he said, since you were born. And get what he said? Whose mouths speak lies, and whose right hand is the right hand of falsehood. It's Shakir. It's Kazab. It's a right hand of falsehood. Yahushua's hand ain't the right hand of falsehood. Yahuwah's hand is not the right hand of falsehood. Yahushua's hand, when he healed that man's hand, you think his hand was falsehood after he healed it? After he restored his withered right hand, you think that hand that Yahushua healed, that all the people hated that he did, you think his hand was falsehood now? No, the people that were talking about it after he did it was falsehood. The scribes and the Pharisees who forgot about Yahushua above, their hand were withered. They didn't know that all their hand were withered too, just like that man. Not even knowing that. Just that fast. Get what he said? They give you a hand of falsehood, but guess what he said? I will sing. What did he say? I will sing. He said, sing is one of them songs of Solomon. He's like, man, right hand with it. He said, I'm going to give you back your right hand. And you're going to walk just like you see it. And you're going to keep all my commandments. And you're going to walk just like you see it. And guess what he said? And I will sing a new song to you, O Elohim. Upon the 10-string harp, I will play to you. Man, he said, my strings, ooh, you restore my right hand, my strings are back. My right hand are back. I can strum the lyre again. Because that's what David was talking about. He said, man, let me lose the skill of my right hand. I ain't going to be able to strum the strings again anymore. I can't even play the guitar anymore. I can't even play the 10-string instrument anymore. Why? Because my hand withered. Because I forgot you. I forgot my skills. I forgot my skills on how to play. I forgot my skills on how to sing. He said, if I forget, let my tongue forget to cleave to the roof of my mouth. But if I remember it and my hand come back, guess what happened? I start playing again. And guess what happened? And I will sing on the 10-string harp, who gives victory to kings, who gives victory to Malachim, who rescues Daud and his servant from the cruel sword. Rescue me and deliver me from the hand of foreigners, whose mouths speak lies, and whose right hand is the right hand of falsehood. And it said, verse 12 says, my son, may our sons in their youth be like plants full grown, and our daughters like corner pillars. Like corner pillars cut from the structure of a palace. Right, this is Joseph and Asenath. Joseph and Asenath. He's like, man, you see what happened? Joseph and Asenath. This is Joseph and Asenath. Joseph and Asenath, chapter 6, verse 2. Actually, verse 1, 6 and 1. And Asenath saw Yusuf on his chariot and was strongly cut to the heart. After she saw him, she like, well, she's afraid to death. She cut to the heart. And when they heard this, they were cut to the heart. She was cut to her heart. And guess what happened? And her soul was crushed. And her knees were paralyzed. And her entire body trembled, and she was filled with great fear. And she sighed and said in her heart, what shall I do? Wretched that I am. Why do you think Shaul said that? And he said, I not speak saying Yusuf is coming? Yahusha is coming. Did I not speak saying that Yusuf is coming? The shepherd's son from the land of Canaan? Yahusha said, my father's a farmer, I'm the husbandman. He is coming. It says, and now behold, the son from the Shamash has come to us on its chariot. He said the son then came on his chariot because he prepared a tent for the son. Have you prepared a tent for the son? Because Yahusha coming. And get what he says. And he entered our house today, and he did what? The son came into the house because he prepared a tent, Ahal for the son, for the Shamash. And he came into our house today and shines in it like a light upon the earth. Like a what? Like a light on the earth. Yahushua said, you the light of the world. A city cannot be hid. No man lights a candle and put it under the table. Oh, you mean a candle? A candlestick, you put it on top of the table that everybody can see it. And get what it says. He says, on the earth, he says, but I foolish and daring. You mean she was foolish? Foolish of what? Having despised him. She said, you are foolish. She said, you are a foolish woman. And daring, having despised him and spoken wicked words about him, and did not know that Yusuf is a son of Ahal. He's like, he a son of Ahal. For who among men on earth will generate such beauty? And what womb of a woman will give birth to such light? To such light? O wretched, foolish girl that I am. And it says, because I have spoken wicked words about him to my father. He said, I have spoken wicked words about him to my father. All right, so this is the book of this is the book of Book of Sirach, chapter 4. Book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 20. Book of Sirach, chapter 4, I think it's verse. Book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 21. For there is a shame that bringeth sin, and there is a shame which bringeth kabod and con. Accept no persons against thy soul, and let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall. And refrain not to speak when there is occasion to do good. It says, and hide not thy wisdom in her beauty. Do what? Don't hide your husband in your beauty, in her beauty. For by speech wisdom shall be known, Because he gave a speaking ruach to Adam. He said, that's how you're going to know wisdom. And learning by the word of the tongue. Open your mouth and speak. And get what it says. In no wise do what? Speak against the truth. He said, man, I done said stupid words against Yahushua. Okay, I done said stupid words against Yahushua Mashiach. I didn't know he was the son of Allah. Why do you think all the people were mouthing at him on the cross? You being the son of Yahuwah, come down. You being the king of Yehuda. You being the king of Yasharal. You heard all these things they said about you. He answered not a word. All these things they were saying about him. He's like, man, look at here. You're going to see me coming in the clouds. with great kabod and kabod, just like the sun with his 12 rays. Matter of fact, you're going to see me coming in the clouds. What blasphemy is this? He said, refrain not to speak. Get what it says. In no wise speak against the truth, verse 29, and be abashed for the error of thine ignorance. He said, I didn't know. And you know the sad part about today? Some people know this is the son of Yahushua. They understand it. And they already knew it. And get what he said. And they speak against the truth anyway. And they're ignorant. He said, After you receive the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no sacrifice for sins. For if we sin willfully, after we receive the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no sacrifice for sins, but a fearful looking for judgment. Because Yahuwah will know I was clearly guilty. And it says, for in no wise speak in truth, and be abashed for the error of thine ignorance. Be not ashamed to confess thy sins, and force not the course of the river. Right, so this is the book of Sirach, chapter 26. 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 Sirach chapter 26 and verse 14. It says, a silent and loving woman is a gift to Yahuwah, and there is nothing so much as worth a mind well instructed. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double con, and a contentment mind cannot be valued. As the what? Verse 16, as the sun, what? When it arises in the high Shamayim, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house. He said, what? Just like the sun, because he prepared a tent for the sun. He said, you're moving justice from your tent. Get what he said? And move the gold and the silver and the ophir in your desire. He said, Yahuwah will be your gold and your silver. You make your prayer to him and he will hear you. And get what he said? You're going to be like, what? As the sun arises in the high Shamayim, so is the beauty of a good wife in ordering her house. As the clear light that is upon the Kudash candlestick. He said, a tent for the sun. So is the beauty of the face of a ripe age. He's like, you're just like a candlestick. A candlestick? Right? Just like a beauty of her of a ripe age. He said, you be just like the sun. Right? So back to Joseph and Asenath. Yusuf and Asenath. Yusuf and Asenath. Joseph and Asenath, chapter 7. Chapter 7, verse 4. Actually, Joseph and Asenath, chapter 7, verse 6. Actually, 7 and 5. And it says, and the face of his father Jacob, Joseph always had before his eyes, and he remembered his father's commandments. Why would he not? You got to remember his commandments. Why do you think Abraham obeyed my voice and my commandments? And get what it said. For Jacob would say to his son Yusuf and all his sons, my children, guard strongly against associating with a strange woman. For the association with her is destruction and corruption. Therefore Yusuf said, let the woman leave this house. And Betrayer said to him, Master, this one whom you have seen standing in the upper floor is not a strange woman, but she is our daughter, a virgin, hating every man. And there will come, he said, hating every man. And there is not any man who has ever seen her except you alone. Right. Skipping over Joseph and Asenath. Joseph and Asenath. So this is Joseph and Asenath, chapter, skipping over to verse 15 and 7. It says, and your name shall no longer be called Asenath, but your name shall be called the city of refuge, because in you many nations will take refuge with Yahuwah, the Elohim, the Most High, and under your wings will many peoples trusting in Yahuwah, Elohim will be sheltered. Me trusting in Yahuwah. He said, I trust in your words. He said, under your wings. And guess what it says? And behind your wall will be guarded those who attach themselves to Yahuwah, Most High, in the name of repentance. For repentance is in Shamash and exceedingly beautiful, and good daughter of the Most High, and she herself entreats the Most High for you at all times, and for all who repent in the name of the Most High Elohim, because he is the father of repentance. And she herself is the guardian of all virgins, and loves you very much, and is beseeching the Most High for you at all times, and for all who repent. She prepared a place for rest in the Shamaim, right? In the Shamaim. But it said, the guardian of all virgins, but he said under your wings, right? So this is the book of we almost finished. This is the book of so this is the book of Psalms, Talim, chapter 36 and 1. It says, transgression speaks to the wicked, deep in his heart. There is no fear of Elohim before his eyes, his or her eyes. For her, he or she flatters herself in her own eyes, that his or her iniquity cannot be found out and hated. The words of his mouth are trouble and deceit. He has ceased to act wisely to do good. He plots trouble while on his bed, his or her bed, and he or she sets himself in the way that is not good. Why do you think he said, is it good to do good or destroy? Or to do evil? What do you think? What you think about that? And he plots trouble while on his bed, he or she, and he sets himself in the way that is not good. He does not reject evil. Because these all things take place at night, or one wrestling within oneself. Because when Yahushua prayed all night, and when he arose, he chose 12. He used to be like the rays of the sun. He told that woman, he said, a good wife in order of her house, he said, it's like a woman that's like the sun. Why do you think Yahushua was in the temple, and then guess what he did? He started healing people. He started healing people. And get what it says, your steadfast love you will extend to the Shama'ims, and your faithfulness to the cloud. Then he told you going to be have a place in the Shama'ims to Asma. And get what he said, your righteousness is like the mountains of Yahuwah. Why do you think Yahushua was on the mountain praying to the next day? It's just like the mountains of Yahuwah. Oh, just like the commandments. Because the righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is the truth. This would be our righteousness if you keep your command. Why do you think you're on the mountain? He prayed all day, all night. And he arose when the sun, he chose 12. And they came down just like the rays of the sun, touching people. And guess what it said? Your righteousness is like the mountains of Yahuwah. Your judgments are like the great deep. Man and beast you save. Huh? Man and beast you save. Huh? You think Yahuwah just care about just humans? He said, I'm coming to save the animals too. I'm coming to save my whales, my Ari, my Naresh, my Behemoth, my Oath. I'm coming to save my Mermaids. I'm coming to save all my animals and the humans. He saved all of them. He said, I'm going to call the sacrifices and oblations to the sea. I'm going to tell all them animal sacrifices to stop. Man and beast, you save you, O Yahuwah. How precious is your steadfast love, O Yahuwah? How you going to stay continually burning? He said, let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Even as your father. Because Yusuf always kept his father's commandments before his face. And the verse said, the children of mankind take refuge. What? Your name shall no longer be called Asenath. You should be called a city of refuge. And get what he said? In the shadow of your wings. He said, under your wings, many people are going to come and be in your walls. He said, as your mountains surround Jerusalem, so Yahuwah surrounds his people. As the commandments surround Jerusalem, so Yahuwah surrounds his people. And guess what? They feast on the abundance of your house. And give them drink from the rivers of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life. I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. In your light do we see light. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and it profited them to see the sun. Why do you think when he signed his race with his 12 disciples, he started healing people? In his light, they saw his light. He saw his light when Yusuf came in the house. Man, his light shone in the house. Man, he opened up his right hand to us. Right, so this is last couple of things, and this is going back to Joseph and Asenath. Joseph and Asenath, 17:4. And Asenath said to the man, Master, with me are 7 virgins ministering to me, fostered with me from childhood, born with me in one night, and I love them as my sisters. I call them, and you will bless them as you have baraked me too. And the man said, call them. And Asenath called the 7 virgins and stood before the man. And the man baraked them and said, may Yahuwah, the Elohim Most High, barak you, and you shall be 7 pillars in the city of refuge. You mean 7 pillars, like 7 pillars of a candlestick. As the sun travels along the 7 celestial circles, because they're going to be just like the sun. Because you know what a woman who orders her house rightly does. Man, she's just like a candlestick. She's just like a candlestick. And guess what happens? And guess what it says? It says, 7 pillars in the city of refuge, and all the fellow inhabitants of the chosen of that city will rest upon you forever and ever. He said, they're going to rest upon you forever and ever. Right? So this is the book of Revelations, Kazum. This is the book of Revelations. Book of Kazum. This is the book of Kazum. This is the book of Revelations. Revelations chapter 12. Verse 1. Kazum chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 1. Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. It says, and a great sign appeared in the Shamash, a woman clothed with the sun. Say what? She was clothed with the sun. I mean, she's just like the sun, leaving the bridal chamber. He said she was clothed with the sun. She was covered with the sun. He said, I didn't know Yusuf was the son of you. Man, he came in here. Man, he had 12 stones. He had 12 rays of light. He said, I didn't know that. He said, I saw a woman clothed with the sun. When Yahushua came down from the mountain with his disciples, he chose 12. And he came right when the sun rose. He came down, he chose 12. He came down, and guess what he did? Them 12 raised did. They started touching people. And they started healing people, all diseases and sicknesses. Started healing them from all the demons and shadim and all of the spirits jumping out of people. Guess what they were doing? He said, I saw a woman clothed with the sun. He said, a woman rightly orders her house is like a candlestick lit, just like the sun coming out of the port. He said, I must work to work while it's day. Because when night comes, nobody can work. And it says right here, and the great sign appeared in Shamash, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet. And on her head, a crown of 12 stars. You mean 12 rays, 12 stones, 12 shalakim. Now you're going to be 7 pillars in the city of refuge. He who holds the 7 stars in his right hand. When Yahushua healed the man with the right hand, he's like, man, look at here. But when that man put that hand on you, on Asenath, as we spoke about before, he said he put that hand on her, that right hand on her, and she was afraid. And guess what happened? And with the moon under her feet, and her head with a crown of 12 stars, and she was pregnant. She had what? She had a baby. Man, she's just like the sun. And guess what happened? People say, why wouldn't Yahuwah give you he said, you walking in the crown of life, and you just like the sun. Why would he not give you a child? And get what it says. And was crying out in birth pains and agony to giving birth. And another sign appeared in the Shamash, behold, a great red dragon, with 7 heads and 10 horns. And guess what he did? And on his head 7 diadems. And his tail swept the third of the stars of Shamaim and cast them down to the earth. And guess what he did? And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. Just like a lion. Just like a sea creature in the ocean. He said, I'm going to devour that thing. Because you know why? What happened when Yahushua healed the man with the withered hand? What did the scribes and Pharisees do? They're like, man, they're trying to figure out how to destroy him. They had the spirit of hatred. But it said right here, that's what the dragon do. Because if you're going to be a part of this kingdom, how you say this woman clothed with the sun, with 12 stars, with the 12 shalakim, and seven cities of refuge with it. He said, guess what the dragon going to do? He said, Barak are they, here are the patients of Kadashim, those that do his commandments and keep the testimony of Yahushua Mashiach. What do you think he going to do? He coming. Kazum 22:14 is true. He's coming for you. And the dragon was mad because you got your right hand, got your right hand healed. You know what happened to you? My right hand back. He said, my right hand back. Yahushua done healed my right hand. He said, you in trouble. He healed my withered right hand. And he said, and the woman said, how did he heal my right hand? He said, man, he's going to be 7 pillars. He said, how he did that? How he did that? He said, has he healed your right hand yet? He said, man, here go my right hand. And he says, and the red dragon with the 7 heads and the 10 horns, right, and his tail swept away the third of the stars of Shamaim, and he cast them to the earth. He caused them all to fall. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. And she gave birth to the male child, one with who is to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Who's going to rule all nations? The 12 shalakim, the 12 tribes. And the 7 pillars of refuge they're going to be cities of refuge in Jerusalem above. In Jerusalem above. Why do you think the dragon came after Abraham when he was getting ready to be born? Why do you think the dragon came after Messiah when he was getting ready to be born? Why do you think the dragon came after Yahushua when he was getting ready to be born? Why do you think Athaliah came after the sons when she wanted to take the rule? Satan all been doing this for a long time. It's the same pattern. Why do you think Yukonon was testifying like this? This is a pattern that's been going on for years. Even when Yahushua was born, Satan Satan came after the child and killed Yukonon. Killed Yukonon's father. But Yukonon's father wouldn't reveal where his son went. But most people don't know about that either. Right? Be humble for your lack of knowledge. But it says right here, and it says, and the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. And she gave birth to the male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But her child was caught up to Yahuwah and to his throne. They did what? They were caught up to Yahuwah and his throne. Jerusalem above. He said, if I forget Jerusalem above, let me lose the skill of my right hand. Let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. Because I ain't forgot about it. It's just the ignorant people, how you say, who want to be somebody, think that they know stuff. And they say, no, you don't know. Only thing you know is what you know. Because his name is Yahuwah, and his son's name is Yahusha. And it says right here, and it says, was caught up to with the throne, right? To Elohim and his throne. How you gonna get up there? The same way you see other people got up there. How you gonna get up there? It says, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared by Yahuwah, in which she was nourished 1,260 days. How you say, be humble for your lack of knowledge. Right, so he said, clothed with the sun. He said, I saw a woman clothed with the sun, right? This is, the last thing, this is the book of, so this is the book of, so this is the book of Jonah, the book of Jonah, chapter 4 verse 5, Jonah 4 verse 5. It says, and Yunah went out of the city and sat in the east of the city, and he made a booth for himself. Right, he made him a suit. And get what he did? And he sat under it in the shade. Why? Because it's hot. It's the summertime. He said, sat in the shade till he should see what would become of the city. Because he's, man, I need to see what's going to happen. Now the Yahuwah appointed a plant and made it come up over Yunah, that it might be shade over his head, to save him from the discomfort. To save him, who commands the plants? When he caused everything to sprout. When he causes everything to sprout in the Shamash on the third day. He said, I caused a plant to rise and be a shade over his head. He said, I want to see what happened to the city. Why do you think Yahushua was killed outside the city? He was like, man, let me go out here. Why do you think Yahushua was all on the mountain? He was just looking around like, let me see what's going to happen to this city. Let's see what happened. And get what happened. This happened on the third day. Up when the plants rose. Let's see what happened. Let's see how Yahuwah worked. And it says in Yahuwah, and get what it says, a plant. He says, verse 6 says, and now Yahuwah, Elohim appointed a plant and made it come over Yunah, that it might be a shade over his head, to save him from his discomfort. So Yunah was exceedingly glad because of the plant. But when dawn came up the next day, you know, when the sun rose, after evening, morning on the third day, what happened on the fourth day? He created the sun, the Shamash, Kubim, and the Yard to be lights on the earth, the greater light and the lesser light. He did it on the fourth day of creation. That's what he did. Because he preparing a tent for the sun. He did that from the first day all the way to the fourth day. The fourth day he was preparing a tent for the sun. And guess what happened? But when the dawn came the next day, Elohim appointed a worm that attacked the plant so that it withered. He's like, man, that's happening he's like, man, when the day dawned on the fourth, he's like, man, look at here. The caterpillar came up and started eating the plant. When that happened? When does that happen? In the summertime. All this happened when the sun is, how you say, at its highest point during the summertime. And guess what happened? And when the sun rose, when the day dawned and the day star rose in your heart, Elohim appointed a scorching east wind, and the sun beat down on the head of Unah so that he was faint. He like, man, look at him. Yahuwah like, I'm going to beat that sun down right on your head. Caterpillar ate it away. I'm going to beat the sun right on your head. And he asked that he might die and said, it is better for me to die than to live, because the sun has shined on his life. And he had no shade. What do you think happens to a plant when they ain't got no shade and the sun come out and the sun has a longer season and it shines on there ain't no water? All this happened during the summertime and it withers away. And guess what happened? But Elohim said to Unah, because he thought all those natural things was his covering. Right? He said, why would he do that? Allow a plant to come put a shade over you, a caterpillar either way. And then allow the sun to scorch you. Because he's trying to teach people something. Let's see what he tried to teach him. But Elohim said to Unah, do you do well to be angry with the plant? Why are you angry why are you angry about the third day of creation? That's the third day of creation. And he said, yes, I do well to be angry, and angry enough to die. He said, and Yahuwah said, you pity the plant for which you did not labor, nor did you make it grow. You didn't do anything. I did it. I grew the plant and I made it grow. When I did that? On the third day. Matter of fact, he said, so the pot, so you get the clay, you're going to say to the potter what he making. So you're going to make the clay the potter the clay. You're going to switch me around. And guess what he said? He said, nor did you make it grow, which came into being in a night and perished in a night, morning, evening to evening, when he did that. Third day of creation. That's exactly what he did in the beginning. He was like, who is the same person? He's the same person that we read about when he said he's going to come after Yehuda. He said, I'm going to wipe clean the animals, the creatures of the earth, the Ramim. In the book of Safanyah, he said, I'm the same person. You get what he said? He said, which came into being night and perished that night. And then the fourth day the sun came. And should not I pity Nineveh? He said, should I not pity Nineveh? What do you mean? I allowed the plant to grow. I allowed the caterpillar to come and eat the plant, and you get mad at the plant. You upset at the plant for it. You didn't make it grow. He said, shall I not pity Nineveh, that great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not know their right hand? Who do not know their what? Their right hand? Has your right hand been healed yet? He said, I don't even know my right hand. Shall I not pity them? Why do you think who should pity that man in the temple and heal his right hand? Shall I not pity their right hand? They don't even know their right hand. He who holds the 7 stars in his right hand. Because you prepared a tent for the sun. He says, from their left, they don't even know their right hand from the left. Why do you think Yusuf had in his right and his left hand? What he had? His 2 sticks. And also much cattle. Right? They got all that. Should I not pity them? Right. So this is the book of Romans. Actually, this is the book of. This is Solomon. Psalms of Solomon. Songs of Solomon. Psalms of Solomon, ChayParach, Volume 2. Psalms of Solomon, ChayParach. Volume 3. Volume 2. Psalms of Solomon, ChayParach, Volume 2. Chapter 3, verse 1. Why do you sleep, soul? And do not praise Yahuwah. Sing a new song to Yahuwah. Why? Because David said, let me lose the skill of my right hand. But he said, after you healed it, he said, I'm going to sing a new song to you. Because when you're with your hand gone, he said, I can't play a string of the instrument. He said, what? Why do you sleep, soul, and do not praise Yahuwah? Sing a new song to Yahuwah, who is worthy to be praised. Sing and be aware of how he is aware of you. For the song of Yahuwah is from a glad heart. The righteous remember Yahuwah at all times. They don't forget his words. It's just like the sun. It's unceasingly, and they travel along the plain. He said, they never forget your words. By acknowledging and proving Yahuwah's judgment right. The righteous does not lightly esteem discipline. From Yahuwah, his desire is to be always in Yahuwah's presence. He said that's Yahuwah's discipline. The righteous stumbles and proves Yahuwah right. He falls and watches for what Yahuwah will do about him. He looks to where his salvation comes from. The confidence of the righteous comes from Yahuwah, their Savior. Sin after sin does not visit the house of the righteous. He's like, man, don't sin after sin don't visit the house of the righteous, because he prepared a tent for the sun. He's like, man, that sin gotta go. They gotta go. They gotta go. Why? Because it's in the house of the righteous, they can't stay. And guess what it says? The righteous constantly, right? The righteous constantly, what? The people who keep the commandment, they constantly searches his house to remove his unintentional sins. Because he said you shouldn't have any intentional sins. You have unintentional sins. These are unintentional things that you were ignorant of, like Asinah, like, I didn't know he was the son of God. Unintentional sins. Verse 8 says, he stones for sins. He stones for ignorance by fasting and humbling his soul. And Yahuwah will cleanse every devout person in his house. And because he prepared a house for the tent for the sun, right? It says, the sinner stumbles and curses his life. He's like, why are you cursing your life? Because you forgot his words. Why would you curse your life? The man had a withered hand and came to Yahusha, and Yahusha healed his right hand. He's like, man, is it right to save or to break a lie? Is it right to kill, to destroy or do good? Stretch out your hand. See, why would you curse your life? It says, the day of his birth and his mother's pains. He adds sin upon sin in his life. That's why he cursed in his life. That's why people curse their life. That's why people commit suicide. That's why people die. That's why people have things happen to them. That's why people have these things. That's why Satan comes at you when you're at your lowest and he starts putting suicidal thoughts in your mind. That's why you have people speak suicide on your life. That's why you have people speak no life into your life. That's why they try to destroy. He's either destroy, kill, steal, destroy. That's all he does. Doubt and error. Take you from one Elohim so he himself can look a certain way. That's what Satan all do. But look what he said. Why are you falling for these things? Why are you falling for these traps? He says he adds sin upon sin in his life. He falls, his fall is serious, and he will not get up. He's like, you ain't gonna get up. The righteous man falls 7 times and he gets right back up. What you ain't getting back up for? Why? You get beat down, you get punched, you get boom, 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 boom. With some sin, boom, you get knocked down. What, you ain't gonna get back up? You just gonna stay there? What, you just gonna stay down? You gonna stay in the same state of mind? You gonna stay in the same state of your being? Or you gonna get up? He say, get up. And get what he said. The destruction of the sinner is forever. Why are you gonna stay there? Get up. And he says, and he will not be remembered when Yahuwah looks after the righteous. Get up. And guess what it says? This is the share of the sinners forever. But those who fear Yahuwah shall rise up to eternal life. Get up. Just like he made that plant grow. Who made the plant grow? So the clay, what you gonna say to the pot? Who made the plant get up? How you gonna do that? As rain and snow come down from Shamash? Or you mean as the sun rises too? So should the Barbie that goes out of my mouth. It should not return void. It's going to accomplish what it's sent to do, if you understand it. And get what it says. It says, those who fear Yahuwah shall rise up eternal life. Because righteousness exalts a nation. What's going to exalt a nation? Keeping the commandments. Because this pattern actually allows us to show wisdom and understanding. That's how you understand it. And it says, and their life shall be in Yahuwah's light. What's Yahuwah's light? The commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is his light. In his light, and it shall never end. Just like the second Enoch said. He said when the Malachi come out at a celestial plane, they all got 12 wings. And they travel along with the sun, and they do it unceasingly. It'll do what? It'll never end. Right? This Ode to Solomon. Actually, this is the song of God. The song of God, chapter 28. Song of, actually 29. Song of God, 29. Song of God, 29 and 30. Actually, Song of God, 29 and 29. It says, surely the stars are become as a crown upon her head, huh? He saw a woman with a crown with 12, he said 12 stars, right? And get what it said. And the sun a jewel upon her heart. And the sun a jewel upon her heart. Till the day dawn and the day star rise in your heart. Until it comes out. Because he said the words were written by Kudashim, and men and women they were removed by the Ruach Kodash. And get what it says. And Sarah sang unto all who were gathered there the songs of thanksgiving. And there was peace in the house of Abraham. Huh? When she sang, there was shalom in the house of Abraham. Say what? When Sarah sang, there was peace in the house of Abraham. Kindness, love, joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, and munah. And guess what? And Abraham dwelt joyfully, because the sun going to move his course in joy. He met joyfully beside the wife of his youth. And they did nurture Yitzhak upon manhood, teaching him all the ways of Yahuwah. Teach him all the commandments. And guess what happened? Now, in the vision of the night, there came to Abraham a malach of Yahuwah, and he spoke to Abraham, saying, arise and prepare yourself. Go and wash yourself. Make yourself clean before Yahuwah. Put on fresh garments and anoint yourself with sweet oil. With olive oil. With oil. For on the morrow, when the sun shall rise, when the sun shall rise, when the sun rises from his bedchamber, from his what? From his bedchamber, there shall come to you the very king of Shamash. Because you prepared a tent for the sun. Why do you think he told him to clean himself and do all these things? Because he was preparing a tent for the sun. And guess what it says? Every king of peace, it says, even the king of peace in righteousness. The king of peace in righteousness. And guess what it says? So Abraham arose in the night and washed and made himself clean. And he put on the clean robe and anointed himself with sweet fragrance of frankincense and myrrh. And when the sun rose, he went out from his tent, and he saw sitting beneath the tamarind trees Malach Sadiq. He was between the tamarind trees. Why did Yahushua do two things? Why do you think he said, thou art a priest after the order of Malach Sadiq? Why do you think they said that? Why are you saying the king of righteousness and peace going to rise in your house when you prepare a tent for the sun? And guess what happened? Even he who is high priest, high Kahan, forever after the order of Yahuwah, Allah. For thou art a priest after the order of Malach Sadiq. He said, why would he do that? Right, so this is the Ode to Solomon 15. This last thing, this Ode to Solomon 15. ODE, Shalom. ODE, Shalom. So this is ODE, Shalom 15. ODE, Shalom 15. As the sun is the joy of them who seek it at daybreak, so is my joy, Yahuwah. That's my joy. My joy is Yahuwah, the one who sits in the highest Shamash, who sent his son, just like the rays of the sun. He said, my joy is Yahuwah. And guess what it said? Because he is my son. Man, he just like my son. The day dawned in my heart. He said, he just like my son, just like in Sarah's heart. She sang her heart. His son rose in her heart. And guess what happened? And his rays has restored me. Huh? Why do you think he restored the man's hand? When his hand withered, his right hand withered, he restored his right hand. Do you know how? People say, what do you mean your right hand, man? Do you understand what your right hand is? Do you understand who you are? Is it not written in your Torah? I said you are Elohim. You are God's. And if I called you Elohim when the word of Yahuwah came, it can't be changed, regardless of what any man, human being. If you got to stop the sun, moon, and stars from shining, cast Yahshua off and be with the people. You got to do it. It's like Transformers. They have a movie, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, and they trying to stop the sun from shining with a device they attach to the top of a pyramid. Not even knowing that the stone which the builder rejected became the top of the pyramid. Not some thing that they created. He said, we at the top. He said, Yahushua Mashiach and his kingdom is at the top. But he said, he at the bottom. In order for the sun, the woman be clothed with the sun, with the 12 tribes to be ascended up, the sun got to rise. He said, we at the bottom. The sun just rose up just a little bit. It haven't reached its highest point yet. And once the sun reaches its higher point, just like you see during the daytime, then the sun going to be able to stretch its rays out on every single person on the earth. But right now, we're at the bottom. The sun just day dawned a little bit. The day dawning is now starting. It ain't rose all the way up to the 6th hour yet. Be humble for your lack of knowledge. And it says right here, because he is my son, and his rays have restored me. He said, man, he'll heal my hand, heal the right hand, he'll heal your crown, he'll heal your mind. He done made you a pillar in the city of refuge. He made your candlestick lit. A woman ordering of a house. He said, man, you done made your candlestick lit. He done lit you up. He said, he done restored me back. He done gave me back my wisdom and knowledge and understanding. He done gave it back to you. Because everybody, even though they hear it, they ain't going to understand it. Only for the few, the elect, will understand it. Only for those who are destined. And it says, because he is my son, and his rays have restored me, and his light has diminished all darkness from my face. There ain't no darkness covering my face. The spirit of hatred blinds the soul. Ain't no darkness over my face. Right? And it says right here, eyes I have possessed in him, and have seen his Kudash day. Remember the Shabbat day and keep it Kudash. 6 days shall you for your selfish stuff, 6 days shall you labor, and the 7th you rest. He said, some days are high, and some days are regular days. But it says right here, he said, I remember Kudash day. Ears I have acquired, and I have heard his truth. He said, I heard it. What do you mean, how you heard it? This would be our wisdom and our righteousness if we keep his commandments. He said, what people going to hear it? What people have you who are so close to them? Who are these people? The thought of knowledge I have acquired, and I have lived fully through him. I abandoned the way of error and went toward him and received salvation from him generously. And according to his generosity, he gave to me. And according to the majestic beauty, he made me. What do you think of beauty? He said, the beauty of a woman who do what? He said, you'd be like a sun, like a lit candlestick, a pillar. And get what he said? He made me. So the clay shaped to the potter, what he making? Yahuwah making it. He's like, Yahuwah making me. He's like, yeah. So now you're the potter. He's like, no, I'm molding clay. It says, I have put on incorruption through his name, and stripped off corruption by his kind. Death has been destroyed before my face, and Sheol has been vanquished by my word. The eternal life, and eternal life has arisen in Yahuwah's land. He said, in your body. And it has become known to his faithful ones. Don't let not faithfulness and love depart from you. My son and daughter, do not forget the teaching of your mother, the teaching commandment of your father, and the teaching of your mother. He said, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your path. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuwah and turn away from evil. He'll be healing to your soul and refreshment to your bones. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, you shall be called Ishar. I saw a woman clothed with the sun with 12 stars on the crown on her head. She had 12 stars. And she was pregnant. She had a child. And she was getting ready to give birth. In order for the sun, it won't be called the sun. The sun got to get to a certain point in your heart, in the mind, in the earth. Right? And it says right here, and eternal life has risen in Yahuwah's land, and it has become known to his faithful ones, and been given without limit to all who trust in him or trust in his words. David said, man, I ain't forget your words, though. Your righteousness is everlasting. It's righteous if I ain't forget your words. They forgot your words. He said, I ain't forget. He said, I ain't forget. He said, I ain't forget. Right? This is First John. This is 1 John chapter 3, verse 1. 1 John chapter 3, verse 1. First John chapter 3, verse 1. All of you, Ukanan 3 and 1. See what kind of love the Father has given to us that we should be called the children of Yahuwah. And so we are. He says, and so we are. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Beloved, we are the children of Yahuwah now, and what we will be has not yet appeared. But we know when he has appeared, we shall be like him. And we shall see him as he is. We shall be like the sun. We're going to be clothed with the sun. He said we're going to be just like him. Because we are his bride. He said we're going to be just like him. And when does the sun appear in front of him? In the midst. He said, and everyone who thus hopes in him purifies himself as he is pure. How are you going to purify yourself? Correction, reproof, and discipline. He said, Barak is in the Psalm of Solomon. He said, Barak is he who don't turn his back from the whip, for he shall be purified. He said, my son, daughter, do not despise Yahuwah's discipline. See, then you'll purify your souls in obedience of the truth. It says, everyone who makes this practice of sinning also practices lawlessness, right? So this is the last thing. This is the last thing. This is the last thing. This is first. I was looking on 2. 1 John 2:22. 1 John 2:22. Who is the liar? But he who denies Yahushua Mashiach. Yahushua is Mashiach. This is anti-Mashiach, and he who denies the Father and the Son. No one who denies the Son has the Father. Whoever confesses the Son has the Father also. How you gonna confess the Son? He said, speaking Ruach. You gotta speak. You gotta say it. You gotta, in your actions, you gotta talk about it. He said, what? Confessing before men. Keep the commandments. Observe his statutes. And guess what he said? And believe on him. And he said, let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. He's like, hey, you didn't make that grow, did you? No, I didn't. Did you do that? Shall I not spare these people? He He said, let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. If what you heard from the beginning abides in you, I prepared a tent for the sun. What was in the beginning? When was the sun created? In the beginning. In the beginning. Because there was a sun on the fourth day, and there was a sun on the first day. And the sun on the first day outshined the sun on the fourth day. Because they made the trees to sprout up on the third day. And it says right here, if what you heard from the beginning abides in you, you will abide in the Son and in the Father. And this is the promise that he has made to us, eternal life. Man, he said he made it known. It's eternal life. I write these things about those who are trying to what? Deceive you. The Nakash in the gun. He said they're trying to deceive you. I ain't forget your words. He said, what are you trying to get you to deceive you to do? To forget his words? To forget his commandments, to forget his celestial circles, forget his 7 cycles, forget his movements of the solar celestial plane, the 364-day cycle, to get you to forget the beginning, to get you to forget all the things that happened. Why? So you can forget him and forget his commandments. Forget what you're supposed to learn. Because Yahuwah make all the foolishness of the world foolishness. All the people in the Rakia, Yahuwah like, you all the fools. You're going to make everybody fools in the Rakia. It looks mesmerizing to people on the earth who have no knowledge and wisdom and understanding, and who has no humility and lowliness and meekness. It looks crazy. It looks very, very honoring. But the Yahuwah is like, you're making these people forget about me. You know it's not of you. People say, yeah, that's of you. I don't know. They're making these people forget my name. These people forget my name. And get what happened? It says, and you will abide with the Son and the Father. And this is the promise he made to us, eternal life. I write these things about those who are trying to deceive you. But the anointing you receive from him abides in you. It abides in you. It abides in you. It abides in you. It abides in you. And you have no need that anyone to teach you. But as his anointing teaches you about everything, and it's true, and that is no lie, just as it is taught you, abide in him. Right, so we look at his truth. We look at Yahushua Mashiach, and we look at the light of life, the true light, the light of every man that cometh into the way, the truth, and the life, Yahushua Mashiach. He said, for all have sinned and fall short, and all have sinned. For any man who say he has not sinned, he said he a liar, and the truth is not in him. But it also says, he that don't keep his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. They say it's not inside of you. The day dawn and the day star has not arisen in their hearts. But just like in life, I say, when you're perfecting things, I say mistakes are made. But through the Yahushua Mashiach, he's like, man, my hand is withered. He's like, man, let's see if he heals somebody on Shabbat. He's like, why would he do that? He's like, his hand withered. He done lost the skill of his right hand because he forgot the words. And get what he said? He said, is it good to do good or do evil? It's good to build up or destroy. And he was like, stretch out your hand. And his hand restored back to him. Right? So you look at the humility of Yahuwah, you look at the humility of Yahushua, and we look at the mimicking of his behavior. And just like the summer fruit has, how you say, the protein, is like, my soul desires first ripe fruit. Right? We look at our life, and we look at our understanding, and we look at Yahushua Mashiach, and we look at his life, and his understanding, and his fruitful trees, and his fruitful vine. But he said, I am the vine, you are the branches. You can't do nothing without me. How you say, you are the branches, you are the rays of the sun. And you can't do nothing without me. You can't even shine without me. So we look at everything that's happened, and we look at everything with knowledge and understanding. And we be humble for our lack of knowledge. For guess what? Just like it is more, there's a lot more. He said there's a lot more. So, and as truth reigns, we know that the inheritance, and he's going to set up the lowly and the meek in the earth. And they're going to be set up. And he's going to cast all the princes of the Goyim and the nations to the ground. Right? For the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.